Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. Thursday morning, we just beat the Houston Rockets last night. Great win by the Raptors. Not a totally pretty win, sure, kind of ugly win. But once again, as long as that W is coming to the Raptors, I don't care how ugly it is. They could shoot 20% and have all the turnovers in the world and just miss all the free throws. But if we win by 1 point by the end of the game, I'm happy. That's all I care about. And some people are so nitpicky. I realize that's one of the reasons why I don't like watching Josh Lewenberg, Doug Smith, and Michael Grange live tweet the game because they're so critical in the moment and they write such asinine shit early in the game about how bad they are. And they really chicken little. They chicken little during the game. That's why I unfollowed them. I think I'm going to get off Twitter. I think Elon is breaking Twitter. I really think he is. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to get my news from Shams and Woj if I'm not going to be on Twitter because it's really coming a dumpster fire there. Good morning, everyone. Raptors roster has many different ways to win games. From Tom Duke out of Victoria, British Columbia. Thank you, Tom Duke, for your comment this morning. And yes, I agree with this. What we did last night is actually kind of interesting. It's kind of like what we said in the keys to victory yesterday is let's outvet them. What's the easiest way to outvet them? Play your vets. Put them out there and play them a lot. And we saw a huge contribution from our two veteran bench guys in the game last night. They really did kind of help guide us in the second half towards overcoming the Houston Rockets and getting that win last night. That Otto Porter Jr. had his best game as a Raptor last night, guys. He got some good burn. 23 minutes, 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, +3, 14 points. Those 2 threes that he hit were very, very big in a moment of time. And one of the things that we thought when we got Otto Porter this summer was we got another 3-point shooter, a shooter for our bench. Well, we got way more than that. We kind of like we're trying to peg him with one thing. Well, maybe that is the most important thing we got him for, but that is not exactly who he is. We got to realize he's an all-around talent, that he plays very good defense, that he crashes the boards. Like we saw last night, he was getting offensive boards and putting them back, and then he can also pass. He can do a lot on the court other than just hit 3-pointers. And I loved seeing it. Otto, it looked so good last night with our team. And once again, Masai and Bobby look like geniuses. Fitting a puzzle together that just kind of really fits well with drafting Koloko and the big free agent signing of this summer being Otto Porter Jr. Now let's talk about Thad Young. Thad Young did not score in this game last night, but still he was one of the best players on the court. It's crazy. Early in the game, Koloko, it was determined that it was not going to be one of those games where Koloko is going to be able to be really successful like the first Chicago game and stay out there and not be in foul trouble and not have different problems with Sengun. And so Thad became our center, our 5 for most of the game. In fact, he played that position most of the game. Now, he did not score a point. Now, are you guys going to get onto him, Raptors people? Are you going to be mad at Thad for not scoring any points and playing so much? Are you able to see what Nick Nurse said after the game, where he said he played really good for us, even though he didn't score any points? Are we able to figure this out, Raptors Nation? That people can have good games and not score any points. Is it making you malfunction in your brain as far as like you constantly weight offensive stuff so much bigger than other things that are contributions on the court, like defensive stuff and just glue stuff and stuff that Thad Young was doing last night at a +21, the highest plus on our team for 27 minutes. He had eight rebounds, 2 assists, a steal and a block, and no points. He shot 3 shots and he missed all 3 of them. And the funny thing was, those shots were really close gimmies and he missed them. Now, I don't think he had a horrible game. So what if he missed those gimmies? He had 3 offensive rebounds, and Nick Nurse himself said he played fantastic. So you tell me, Raptor fans, can you let a Raptor shoot 0 for 3 and not score any points and still say he had a really good game? Well, the coach can. So maybe you should follow in his direction. All right, Shane Waters is here too. The West Coast Raptor freaks are in the house. Let's see. Shane saying, good morning. The vets showed up to show them kids had a ball last night. Good team effort. Raps really can't catch a break with the injuries. Get better soon, Precious. Next man up mentality. Definitely next man up mentality going on. OG Anunoby looking like the dude, like Pascal Siakam last night, taking over on both sides of the court. We got a little mix of OG Anunoby's bag of everything that he does really well. Right at the beginning of the game, he's a laser three. He hits like 3 threes right away. So beautiful, so perfect, the shot. And then we get to see him a little bit more aggressive going to the basket. There were some really nice lobs for OG last night. That one in transition where he threw it down in reverse from Fred. That was beautiful. But that wasn't the only one. He had a few lobs where he was rolling to the basket and they found him and they just threw it up there and they got him. Scottie had one where he did a no-look lob to OG last night that was beautiful. And then, of course, the other part of OG, the steals. We saw those very late, actually. He started getting aggressive after saying, you know what? He kind of got selfish. He said, you know what, Houston, that's actually my ball. It's not your ball. You're just holding it for me for a second. Actually, I want it back right now. And he just goes and takes it from them. And it really overpoweringly takes it. And this is why he's leading the league in steals. And it's funny what they said after the game. Fred said, OG's getting meaner. And that maybe he's not as like nice and passive as a player as he's been in the first few years of his career. That at this point, maybe him and Pascal have both leveled up to have a little bit of a mean streak and a little bit of, I'm going to take what's mine and what I want. And it's a little bit of a baller mentality that's just like, I'm doing this and you can't stop me kind of thing. Well, OG's starting to show a side of this, and it is a little scary for the rest of the league, but we love it here in Raptor Freak Nation. If OG wants to get a little selfish, get a little bit more pilferer, be a more of a pilferer and go pilfer people and pilfer them and just take the ball and abscond with it. I am totally fine with that. I love that kind of stuff from him. And I wasn't sure if he was going to get his steals last night, but he was really trying near the end of the game to just keep taking the ball from them. And there were a couple of times where he took it from Jalen Green and he would like avoid him trying to steal it back by dribbling low and then dribbling high and then going around him and then dunking it. OG was so good last night, guys. Honestly, I think this was one of his best games of his career ever in his life, because he was good offensively and he was good defensively. He had the whole thing going. 10 of 20 from the field, 4 of 9 from three-point range, 3 of 4 at the line, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, and a block, a plus 18 with 27 points. OG Anunoby is my number one star of the game, y'all, for sure. I know Fred can actually get Fred had a really good game also, and he is the other star, second star, and he could actually be the number one star, Fred VanVleet. Because Fred on the download did some really, really amazing things last night. In fact, when we talk about the leadership that Shane's talking about, showing the kids how to play, he's a part of that. It's not just that and Otto. OG and Fred were also part of that veteran out-vetting of the Houston Rockets. And you saw it with Fred guarding Jalen Green at times. He would just take the ball from him. He was out-vetting Jalen Green, who's a second-year player. Very, very talented, super athletic. But Fred is smarter and been in this league longer and knows a couple of tricks. And he was getting the ball from him in interesting ways. And then, of course, Fred at that one point where he's very strong hands, and he just wrenched the ball away from Houston and took it for us. And I love that. I love that so much. Fred is such a unique player because, sure, he's undersized, he's short, but he is so strong. And his hands and his hand speed is so quick that when he gets that ball like that with his steal, he's very strong, and he can be stronger than centers in this league and just outmuscle them, because that's part of what these steals, the hard thing about stealing the ball is you have to be strong and you have to be precise and you have to be quick all at the same time. And if you're not one of those things, you're usually going to foul somebody. So OG and Fred with their steals last night, they look strong. They're very strong players. And I love that about them. But Fred, fantastic game last night. 12 of 26 from the field, 7 of 16. He had 7 3-pointers last night, which is an amazing amount of 3-pointers. That's a lot of threes, guys. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, a block. 32 points. So Fred was our leading scorer with 7 threes and just all around leading the team, kind of like when we were kind of faltering or we seemed kind of not so sure on our offensive end. Freddie was stepping up and taking points, and making us keep going. And I thank you, Fred, for the leadership, veteran kind of stuff that you do on this team. It was fully in effect. And I really like this one lineup in the third quarter that we had out there that was OG, Fred, Scottie, Otto, and Thad. That lineup was so cool. And once again, this is going to happen all season long. We're going to see weird permutations and combinations of our roster on the court with certain five people out there. I had one of those moments last night when I saw Fred, OG, Scottie, and Otto and Thad as a fivesome out there. They were amazing together. And they really showed that unit in particular is a little bit exempt from kind of, I know Scotty's in that lineup, but they're a little bit exempt from boneheaded young mistakes. When you can have OG, Fred, Thad, and Otto out there together, that is a very veteran core kind of group that can be very like smart and not make dumb mistakes. So if you want a more reliable vet group, maybe you put that group out with a healthy Pascal when he gets back. And boom, look out, Nick Nurse. You may have a very capable veteran five lineup that if you need to go to something steady, a little bit more experienced, that is a great lineup. Otto and Thad with the three champion Raptors, OG, Pascal, and Fred. I want to see that later on. Logical saying salute real ones. Project Truth always. Yes, Project Truth's a great project. The project for the truth, and not listening to the NBA media and different people looking on the ground and looking at reality and following other kind of independent content makers. Check it out. Logical Raptors Fanatic, great YouTube channel, all kinds of good stuff coming out all the time. You go, Mike. All right, let's see. Isaac Campbell has a neat word. I like it. It's hashtag grow winning. Grow winning. Yes. It's something where, a Raptors team could be in development and not really being a top team or a real contender, but they're still winning. That was kind of our year last year. We were grow winning. I think we're doing more of that right now, that we grow and we win while we grow. It's not like the Rockets. They're growing, but they're not winning. Well, we grow and we win. And I like that word. That's a great mashup, grow winning. I think we can go somewhere with this, Isaac. Grow winning. Yes. Raymond Jacobs saying at Shane, Otto knows what's up. He left Golden State to come to Toronto to two-peat. Yes, Raymond Jacob, you might be right. He has some insight in things. And maybe he's just like, you know what? I think that's having too much fun up there. I got to go see what that's all about. And I really liked the interview with Otto Porter after the game and some of the stuff that they said about playing together in Chicago. Thaddeus and Otto were teammates in Chicago for 2 years, a couple years ago, and that they really are good friends and they have played together a lot. So when they're a pairing that's on the court together, there's a lot of accrued experience of playing off of each other that is really good, and we can unlock and kind of use now in the present day some of the stuff, the work that they put in on the Bulls roster. And that's pretty cool. I like that. That we see Thad make really good decisions passing the ball because, he sees, that person is wide open underneath the basket. Boom. I throw it right to him and there's a layup. So these guys are good passing. They're good defenders. Otto's a really good three-point shooter. Thad can shoot threes here and there. They're both good rebounders. So they really add everything that we want in our Vision 6-9 with a twinge of veteran know-how. And it doesn't hurt, like I said, that they're very good friends with each other and they have a lot of time already played together, that they can tap on prior experience from that. So I really love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Shane Waters is saying, yes, Raymond, that and he needed the wife's family around for the new baby. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, maybe. It's championships and babies. That's what we're all about in Toronto. Have a baby, get a championship. So hopefully this is what's going to happen this year. Maybe Otto's playing really well right now because the baby's here and he's getting that baby energy going and good things are happening. So now Oklahoma City, let's go hit the road. Let's go see the Thunder. They're an exciting team. They're going to be a tough challenge, but I think we can get them. It's going to be very similar in some ways to the Houston game plan, except they're better. So we have to tighten up and really play much better against them, especially the way SGA is playing these days. But we'll do the preview tomorrow for Oklahoma City, going to Oklahoma City, Toronto Raptors on the road. Let's see. Kareem Thomas is here. He's saying a win is a win. Godspeed to Precious. That's right. A win is a win is a win is a win. I don't care if it looks how ugly it is. Just win, baby. I don't care if it's ugly. Y'all can miss all these shots. You can do this. We can talk about how garbage y'all were in the first half. But if y'all had one good quarter in the last end of the game and you overcame and won by 1 point, I would be like, yes. And yes, Godspeed to Precious. I hate seeing this. Precious had a bad day yesterday. First of all, Nick Nurse, why are you calling him out and putting him on blast in public? I do not totally agree with how Nick does this sometimes. He came public and he told the press, I had a meeting with Precious before the game. And I told him you're not playing good enough and that I want you to try harder. He was using the Chris Boucher treatment that he used on Chris for years now to get something out of him. He's trying to get some fire out of him. Well, I think it had the wrong effect on him. Maybe it works for Chris, but I don't think it works for Precious because he looked very not confident last night in some ways. We've seen Precious have this amount of confidence in him that's just unwavering, that he'll be like confident in all kinds of situations. Well, he didn't look confident last night. And I feel like that's partly because Nick Nurse put him on blast before the game. And I don't agree with that. And then also, maybe do it in-house and private, but do not tell everybody that you did do this. I think that was a big mistake. And, Precious did not look like his normal self in some ways last night. He looked tentative. He looked unsure. And I blame Nick Nurse publicly calling him out. And then, him getting hurt is just part of that too. Sometimes if you're not totally confident and tentative, you can get hurt just because of that. That's why you need to be sure and strong and tough out there. And I hated seeing that. I hope he's not that hurt. I hope it really is something that's just a couple of days, a week at the most. But yeah, we don't like this. We don't like guys getting hurt, and I especially don't like it when he had to put in a bad situation to begin the game where he knows he's under fire and he's under a spotlight, and he didn't. He was successful to a degree last night. I thought he played pretty well in parts of the game that he played. He was 2 of 8, not the best. 4 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, minus 11. He missed both his threes. He didn't shoot well, but I think that's what you have to figure out, Nick, is, you can't press the same key on the piano for each of the players. That maybe that is a Chris Boucher key of getting him motivated and playing better to do what you did to Precious, but maybe it doesn't work for Precious. And I wouldn't do that to him ever again because he was totally different. He looks so not confident. And that's not who he's been since he's been in Toronto in this year and this beginning of the season. Is that he's always had an unabashed confidence that I thought was one of his best traits. And I don't think you should rein it in or rain on it or poo-poo it or make it worse. I think you should let him be unrealistically confident because that's way better for him and his growth than now you have him in his head. And I don't like this, Nick. I think that was a big miscue. Sometimes it's really cool that you're very public and open about affairs with the Raptors, and we appreciate that, especially on this channel. But sometimes you don't need to do this, and it hurts your team. And I think you might have hurt the team, or it's Precious specifically, by airing this all publicly. Because, listen, these idiots like Lewinberg and Smith, they want something to write about and make a big deal out of. They want a little piece of string to pull from the garment to unravel it. And you're giving them something by making a big deal out of Precious's performance and taking him aside and putting it out there publicly. So I do not agree with any of that, what Nick Nurse did yesterday. And hopefully he won't do it to him ever again. And maybe if you do it behind closed doors and don't let us know. Because, yeah, you set up Precious kind of in a bad place last night. I didn't appreciate that. Let's see. Tom Duke's saying they're missing him in Golden State for sure. Definitely missing Otto Porter Jr. in Golden State. They have a losing record, and they're not in the playoffs right now on the Western side. Lumpy Rex is saying these injuries are a blessing in disguise. I love this kind of thinking, and I do really believe this also, that in some ways, sometimes we need these guys to take rests anyway. So, and obviously, they're great for other guys to get an opportunity to step up and do more and get better and have more responsibility. So, I completely agree with Lumpy Rex. We have such a deep team that we can weather missing Pascal and Precious and still win games. And other teams, I don't know if they could deal with that. Like losing their best player off the bench and their best player, that would be really hard for some other teams to continue to win. But we did it all last year, and we're going to do it again this year. So expect us to win. All you negative ninnies and everybody saying, well, now that Pascal's out for 2 weeks, we're going to go on a nosedive. Y'all are wrong. We're not going to start losing just because Pascal's out, y'all. We're going to be winning because that's what we're all about. We're the Toronto Raptors. Joseph Starks is saying, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Joseph Starks. Good to see you, a good Raptor freak on the West Coast. West Coast really is what representing this morning. Good to see you guys up early. Logical saying this game was used perfectly. Gave guys rope to make mistakes, to grow from. Then in the fourth, we lock in and win. We have been doing this every game. Just some games it takes more starters and less rope. Yeah, I think you're right, Mike. And I do really commend Nick Nurse. If I don't, I'm on him for the Precious stuff. I really commend how he did play his rotations last night. He did really smart stuff. And it was really playing those vets and keeping it more on a veteran edge. Listen, if we have a versatile group and we have size, we have strength, we have speed, we have vet, we have this, we have that. Well, maybe for a certain opponent like the Houston Rockets, it was what we needed was veteran leadership. Well, it may change from night to night. Now, we may need some more of that veteran leadership against the Thunder on Friday night, but we may need some of the other stuff a little bit more also, like the bullying and the strength and the size. So I'm going to do the preview tomorrow. I haven't looked at Oklahoma City very closely, but I'll have all the information about them tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. I knew when Fred VanVleet and OG decided to take over the game, I knew it was over regardless. We have championship experience for a reason. Then our vets, Thaddy and Automatic. Yes, Cool Cat. Yes, you go. That is a weird thing about these kind of games. Houston was really kind of controlling us the whole game. And of course, the twit heads were all sewering us, talking us down, saying that they didn't believe in us, that, oh, we're just a horrible team. This is basically kind of the tweets that we get from Doug Smith and different people during the game. They're just talking about how shitty the Raptors are. Well, I don't doubt them. Just because they're down to the Houston Rockets for the first couple of quarters of the game doesn't mean that they're going to be down to them the whole game. I'm not that stupid. I understand who the Raptors are, and I've been paying attention. Doug Smith, you've been watching this team for 27 years. Don't you know that they come back on teams, especially teams like the Houston Rockets? Like, I really wish you would come at this from an educated, experienced kind of point of view. Sure, you can dump on them and think all this, but why do you act so shocked when they come back and win games like this? I just don't get these people. They get paid living to cover these teams, and they don't act like they have any basis of history or like MO. Like the Raptors have an MO of playing from behind and coming back and stealing games at the end of the game. When are you twit heads going to realize this and start saying, well, the Raptors are going to do their comeback, then they need to do this and this and this. And then boom, all of a sudden they do it. So why do you guys act so shocked that they won this game against the Rockets at the end of the game? It's hilarious to me. And I really am starting to think about getting off Twitter between Elon Musk and their bullshit. I'm not lying. But yeah, it was really good to see Freddie really take control. And he said in the interview after the game, he's like, I understand I have to be more aggressive and just go ahead and take mine. In the other games earlier in the season, I would cruise in the first half and then kind of impose my will in the second half to help guide us to the win by saving my energy. But with Pascal out, I really have to start doing that right from the start of the game. And this is what's happening in these last 3 games, that he is stepping up big time and he's scoring major points and he's pushing Adriana and Monique's teams up the fantasy right now because he's playing so well. Single-handedly, him and I guess Donovan Mitchell's kind of helping them too. They got two great guards there. Fun guy saying the win is all that matters, baby. Baby. There's a new post on Twitter. Somebody posted this new video. It's like clips from the Open Gym episode where they're all dancing at the Nick Nurse Night of Music. And it's basically a clip saying you just got beat by the Toronto Raptors. And then it's all like our guys dancing. It's so good. It is so good. And I hope the Raptors Twitter puts that up every single game we win this year for the other team. It's such a good clip. Y'all will find it. You're going to see it at some point. The Raptors won the game and they're dancing kind of clip. It's really good. Isaac Campbell saying this was a Nick Nurse win again. Respect to the vets, but Nick Nurse is figuring it out and not afraid to look deep into the toolbox. Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree. Nick Nurse is a huge factor in why we won last night. The referees were not our friends last night. They were really biased towards Houston. The foul attempts show this, and also just the amount of physicality that was taken by people like OG Anunoby during the game and not really paid attention to. Really showed that they were very biased in helping Houston with the calls, that they got way more free throws than we did and got way more calls. And that didn't help them in the end. We overcame that also. That's why I say, sure, the rest can be biased and not helping us, but we have to be that much better and overcome them. And we didn't even play that perfect last night. We had a lot of mistakes and we played real ugly early, but we cleaned it up and got better and better as the game went on. And the refs didn't matter, even though they were manipulating the game. And there was some really bad calls. I really don't like Donica Mosher. And Trey Maddox is usually really good, but he was kind of doing the dirty work last night. And Mark Davis was actually the ref that looked like the most not doing dirty stuff. But those other two were kind of doing the dirty stuff. But either way, good job. And with the getting the win despite the referees. But yeah, Nick Nurse was pretty good. I was happy with him. Let's look at the scoring in the quarters. Now, we won 3 out of the 4 quarters. We won the second, the third, and the fourth quarter. It was really just the first quarter where we looked so bad, giving up 37 points to the Houston Rockets in the very first quarter. That is awful. That is awful. That's horrible defense. That's the worst kind of way to start the game, letting the other team score 37 points. That's how much they should be scoring by the halftime, not in one quarter. I'd love to see a 37-point half, not a quarter. And that was the worst quarter of the game. It got better and better as the game went on. The second quarter, we did really well trying to even it up by only letting them score 17 points. And that was more like the real Raptors in the second quarter. And a lot of that was Thad Young coming in and the veteran kind of guys doing vet stuff at that point. Then we proceeded to beat them every single quarter after 116-109, the final for the score. Now, the team stats were very interesting. We got like almost 20 more shots on field goal attempts than they did. They had 84 shots on goal, and we had 102, and they shot better than us. But once again, volume beats better shooting when you get so many extra shots. We made 5 more shots than them from the field, even though they shot a better percentage. And that was really because we took so many shots. And a lot of those were just offensive putbacks, like crashing the boards and trying to put it back in. The 3 points, we actually beat them at the 3-point line. And this was a real key to us winning too, that they really do. They can do better when they're hitting threes. Like they have Eric Gordon. They have this guy Matthews. They got Jalen Green. They've got some really good 3-point shooters. Thank God they weren't hitting them, because that could have really changed this game last night. They got open threes that they missed. And if those shots had gone in, we would have had a harder time winning this game. And thank God they didn't go in. Like Matthews himself was an 0 for 3 last night. And Eric Gordon was not the normal 3-point like killer like he usually is. He was only 1 for 6. So them shooting 25% from the 3-point line was a huge key to us being able to win. That them not shooting well at the threes would have really hurt us. Now, the free throw line, we did well. They got 11 more free throw attempts than us, but we shot 85%. We only missed 3 free throws last night. I'm very happy about that. But they got a plus 9-point differential at the free throw line just because the referees gave them 11 more free throws net than we had. So that's a difference right there in the game, that they were handed 9 extra more points than us. in the calls. And that is evidence you can look at right there. Now on the offensive boards, we killed them 22-16, but only one rebound overall over them. We did not get our assist goal of 25. We only got 19 assists. But I'm going to say this: even though they only had 19 assists, they were really connected really well, and the synergy between the Raptors on the court was fantastic. Like some of the stuff with Fred and OG, and then Scottie also, that synergy was really, really good. They were on the same page, and we're seeing the fruits of the reps of these guys playing together for a while now and really kind of getting to know each other's second natures and what they're used to doing. Even though they had 19 assists, I feel like the passing and the connection between the players was really good last night, and it kind of isn't signified by such a low assist total for the game. Looking more at the team stats, we got 12 steals. Obviously, a lot of that's OG, OG and Fred. But yeah, 12 steals is fantastic. Every time we have double-digit steals, that's good. That's very good. The turnovers were very even for the game for the most part. We ended up only turning it over 13 to their 16, and they were a lot of points off of their turnovers, 31 points off their turnovers, which was fantastic. So that was important, getting them to turn the ball over. But a lot of other stuff was really even, 50-50 points in the paint. So really even game in some ways, but some help from the refs with the free throw line. And then we beat them at the 3-point line, kind of balancing that out. Good stuff. Nako the Nacho saying OG, Fred, and Otto were our best players. That was also super solid. You know, Nako, you have just named my 3 stars of the game right in a row. OG #1 star, Fred #2, and Otto Porter Jr. getting the 3rd star. First time in my 3-star system this season. And you know what? That was my honorable mention, was Thad Young. So you kind of just nailed exactly what I was going to say. Maybe we could play a little game and see who can guess the 3 stars of the game. Well, Nako, you hit the nail on the head today. Bullseye. Click is here. Good to see Click, a longtime OG for this channel, and just a good, outstanding Raptor freak in the Raptors community everywhere. Click is everywhere, watching everything. I see you everywhere, Click. Don't think that the game was against Oklahoma City is an automatic win. Shy is averaging 31 points per game and just hit a game winner versus the Bucks. Well, you know what? He hit a game winner to help them, but they ended up losing that game still in double overtime, which sucks because they had the Bucks on the ropes, and we want the Bucks to get a worse record, and we needed the Thunder to beat them. But somehow, some way, the Milwaukee Bucks still ended up winning that game last night. I don't understand that completely myself, because the way it looked like it was going to go, it looked like Oklahoma City at home in double overtime, they would have to be in the driver's seat. But no, the Bucks still figured out a way to get the W by the end, which is crazy. I think you're exactly right. Oklahoma City isn't a slouch. Oklahoma City isn't exactly like Houston and Orlando. They are a little bit of a tier above in some ways, but let me go look at them tonight. I can't really give an educated opinion on them because I haven't deep dived on them. I'll do that this afternoon, and we'll talk all about them tomorrow. But I agree, Click, on initial first looking at them, this is a tough team, and they may be even tougher than they were last year already. So Mike saying, mean revolution, the Rico effect. Yes, just get a little edge, get a little Mr. T, a little B.A. Baracus in you, get a little bad attitude Baracus in you, Raptors, and say, yeah, you pity the fools that mess with you, OG Anunoby. Just take the ball back from them, OG. Say, thanks for borrowing my ball for a little while. It's mine. I'm taking it back right now, whether you like it or not. I love it. Cool Cat saying, Automatic and Thaddy are 2 complete players and vets. Excited to see Otto and Pascal connection, especially for playoffs. Thaddy, our connector, IQ, and defensive was amazing. Great coaching, great idea. Rotations. Otto Porter is such a great outlet to hit threes. Like, I love Scottie having him as a big target. Like, Scottie's going to be out there and he can read the court. And if he sees that somebody's not giving the respect to Otto on the line over on the other side, he will hit him real quick and he will bomb that 3. And he looks real dependable with the 3-pointer, obviously, because that's who he's been in his NBA career. a really dependable 3-point shooter. But yeah, I like that. I want to see more of the Scottie and Otto connection, because I feel like Scottie's going to be able to go and get and find him in crazy, amazing different places. And it'll be really fun to see more and more the complete player that Otto Porter Jr. is, and that he is not just a 3-point shooter. He has so much more to his game. Yeah, and yeah, Thad, I'll talk more and more about Thad. Amazing stuff, glue kind of stuff last night. Tom Duke saying OG's interviews with Kayla Gray are getting better and better. Both know their roles are important and running with it. Yeah, OG's more in the spotlight with interviews these days. There's that Kate Burness interview that they did recently on TSN, and I don't really like how Kate is messing with OG. Like, she's kind of challenging him on whether he went to the zoo or not. And like, don't do that to him. Like, he's a very serious dude, Kate. And I know maybe you're flirting or playing around, or you're just trying to make great content for your segment. But I don't like how you're needling him and questioning him on whether he is telling the truth about going to the zoo and seeing the penguins. Let the man just say he went to the zoo. You're asking him like, well, what month did you go? And he's like, I don't know, the end of February. He's like, wait, you went to the zoo at the end of February? Like, what is the ninth degree? Like, okay, I went in March. I was like, what animals did you see? I don't know. This man couldn't name something he liked about Texas. You expect him to just like answer your questions, give him a fifth degree? Just stop, Kate Burness. You're not dating OG. There's no reason for you to give him the fifth degree about whether he went to the zoo last year or not. Jeez. And I do really hope y'all go to the Ripley's Aquarium and do that trip and film it and show it to us, because it'll be great content. You know what it is? The zoo's way the fuck out in BFE. There's no way that OG goes that far out into Scarborough. Come on now. There's no way he went. I mean, maybe he says he went out there. He went to the zoo. He said he went there in March, but he didn't document anything. And then you even messed up and you said, oh, you didn't put it on your social media. When has he ever posted anything on social media, Kate Burness? You're crazy. You just like stepped into a lie when you said it in that. Go watch the interview. It's entertaining. And I like that kind of loose content, but I don't like how she was treating OG, treating him like he was a liar and kind of like giving him the fifth degree. Let him just be him. If he said he went to the zoo, I believe him. Why would he lie to us about that? Why would he lie to us about going to the zoo, Kate Burness? Come on. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it really bugged me when they were in that interview and this stuff. But yeah, Kayla Gray's been better and better and better during the games as a sideline reporter. She had an interesting interview with Pinball Clemons last night in the game. And one thing I don't like about these interviews, though, is that they what happened during the Pinball interview was there was a very weird play that happened that was kind of mystifying to me. We turned the ball over and it looked like it was not a fair play. And we lost the ball all of a sudden, and they were interviewing Pinball. And instead of showing the court and showing us what would happen, they went back to showing his face. And that made me mad because I wanted to see the fallout after the call so I could understand what the refs did to screw us over in that moment. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when they're interviewing Mike Pinball Clemons. And I don't know what happened, and they didn't give us any like catch up on it from Jack and Matt when they came back after the interview. And so sometimes those interviews are too long. TSN, sometimes Sportsnet, they need to be shortened. And remember, we are here to watch a game. It's sure you can go ahead and push Grey Cup and CFL and all this kind of stuff. Sure, it's important, but we want to also know what happened in the game we're here to watch. And there was something important that happened during the Pinball Clemons interview last night that was not covered or explained to the audience. And Jack, maybe it just takes Jack coming back or Matt Devlin coming back and saying, this is what happened with the play why the Raptors lost the ball in this situation. Because I don't even know what the call was. It looked like it was a foul on the Rockets in transition and that we were supposed to get a take foul, is what it looked like to me. But all of a sudden they were calling an offensive foul on us and Houston had the ball. And I don't have any idea what happened. All I know is there's going to be a party for the Grey Cup is what I know. So, all right, there we go. Kayla Gray's awesome. And Savannah Hamilton's very good too for the other side. Fun Guy's saying, just wait. I'll tell you until Otto is back in good shape. He's a beast when energetic and up and down the court in the threes. Yeah, it's funny. He said he wanted to get pulled out of the game before he hit those threes. That he was actually motioning to Nick that I need to come out. and Nick left him in by accident, and boom, all of a sudden he hit a couple threes. That whole spurt that he had would have been missed if Otto had came out when he was supposed to, which is awesome. And I think you're right, fun guy. There's a different level of Otto Porter Jr. when his conditioning is exactly right. We'll see, and I think you're right. I'm excited to see it. Shane Waters is agreeing also. He really is only at 85% right now. Ooh, I wonder what 100% is going to look like. It's going to be fun. And he really could. I could see where he could develop into being one of the guys who just steps up and carries water for us one night. Like he could be a leading scorer for this team on a certain night if the matchup's favorable and we're using him and he's hot and he's hitting his shots. He could be like a 25 to 30 point scorer in a single night to help us and be the main scorer in certain games. I could really see Otto doing this in some games this year. So we got to be ready for that to see that. All right. Kareem Thomas is saying the Gestapo is on a national manhunt. OG out here robbing people in broad daylight. I don't want to arrest him. I say we give him some crown, and he is the king of stealing, of steals. And yeah, sure, maybe if the word steal is punished by law in real life in real places, but the word steal in the NBA world is a great thing. It's a celebrated thing. It's a fantastic thing. And yeah, we need to, man, respect OG and him leading the league in NBA in steals, baby. You keep going, OG. Do this, man. You should be the defensive player of the year. Seriously. I mean, I know it's real early and it may be tough to keep this up. Hopefully you're gonna have to stay healthy. There's all kinds of different factors for the long stretch run of trying to win this award, but he is definitely in the running in the early race. And hopefully he can just sustain this and have a really healthy, good season where he is so much just evidently the best defensive player in the NBA. That he's given them more and more evidence every single game. He gives them more evidence so they can nail him in a court of law. Yeah, that's right, Kareem Thomas. We'll hunt him down. We'll put him in a court of law and we'll put all his highlights on the screen. And the judge will say, "Did you do this, young man?" And he'll be like, "Yes, that's me." And then we'll give him an award, Defensive Player of the Year. Patrick Douglas is saying, "Coach, teach, Lex." OG is going for it. Love it. Defensive Player of the Year, as stated yesterday. Precious has to learn patience with aggression. Christian is learning he will be fine. Yes, it's all learning curves, and it's all not a straight line. It's all like, that's the thing we have to realize. Scottie was not hurt the other day. He just had a poor offensive game. So it's like, that's kind of the path of an NBA career. It's a little bit of going up, boom, growth, Delano, a little bit that back up, and Precious, Delano, Scottie, all these guys are going through different waves of it. OG and Pascal are on higher frequencies of that wave, where they've gone through the little early stuff in their earlier career, like some of the younger guys are going through now, but they're higher up and they're more established and they're more able to do things like what they do now, Pascal and OG. So it really is kind of the way you need to look at the players, their progression and their development as 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And allow for a 1 step back kind of game for people like Scottie, who didn't get but 5 points the other day. Well, he stepped back forward last night. What did Scottie do last night? Scottie had 13 points on 6 of 16 shooting. Not the best shooting, but he had 7 offensive rebounds, guys. He was crashing the boards like a maniac. 8 rebounds altogether, 5 assists, 2 blocks. Scottie had a great game. He was +6. He could have been in contention for one of the stars of the game, but he's right there after Otto and Thad. But yeah, if he had shot just a little bit better, that's a great game by Scottie, honestly, with the assists and the offensive rebounds. That's the thing that really, really impressed me about Scottie, how much he was on the boards. And the other thing about Scottie yesterday was, all right, sure, he didn't shoot well, but part of it is because he was really trying to throw his weight around in the lane. And that he was getting hit and hammered, and he's learning, much like Koloko, how to do low post and around the baskets with the physicality of the NBA coming at you and dragging you down, hanging on your arms, hitting you in all kinds of like sneaky ways, and you still having the wherewithal to put the ball in the basket no matter what. Now, Scottie, look, this is something we talked with him in Twitch this summer. I says, when you get in the low post, Scott, nobody can stop you. You can do whatever you want down there. And in some ways, he's starting to put on those big boy britches and go down there and show that. especially last night, we really saw a concerted effort of him early on to get in the paint and really push people around and go after them. I think that when he was guarded by Jalen Green or any of these smaller players on the Houston team, he's like, I got a baby on my back. I'm going to go back them down and I'm going to try and put this ball over them. Well, he didn't hit as many of those shots as he's going to in the future. That this really is him and Koloko are learning to get finished through the contact, and that they're not totally good at it yet. Well, Scottie's going to be like this very high percentage making his shots. If he can get position and spots in the floor near the basket, he's going to make shots like crazy eventually. It's just he's figuring out the contact, but he's getting to the spots, and that in some ways is really hard to do as an NBA player, is to even get yourself into a spot that where you want to be to operate from, because defenses will really try and hold you out. And that's a testament to his size and strength combination, that he can on his own will say, I'm going to this little low post spot on the side, and I'm going to try and back you down and turn and make a shot over you. And he's going to make these more often than not down the road. He's going to look a lot like Kawhi with how much he makes them and how nobody can stop him. It's just that he's got to learn how to finish through contact, just like Christian. They had a similar problem with this. Let's keep going. Yeah, Seymour saying automatic was clutch last night. And it wasn't even the automatic threes. It was everything. It was the defense, playing within the defensive system. It was the rebounding. It was the passing. It was the steals. He can do a lot of different things. And we may have just say, oh, he's a one-trick pony. He's only a three-point shooter. No. His game is way more fleshed out and complete in all kinds of different places around him, whether it's on the defensive end, whether it's the rebounding, whether it's the passing. He can do pretty much all the same stuff that all the other guys can in a lot of ways. Isaac Campbell saying, yeah, Tom, fun guy. Otto is, let's see. Oh, it jumped. Isaac Campbell looking for the purple. Let me see. Where is that? Yeah, Tom, fun guy. Otto is for real. He better be for real after all these years in the NBA. Nako's saying there was one game against the Nuggets in the post-chip year that I thought was OG's best game. This was a top 3 game from OG, though. Yeah, this game, well, I think it really is because this is all right. There's a game against New York last year that he got like 36 points. That is his absolute best career high scoring game ever. But this game is really the combination of the overpoweringness with the defensive stuff at the end of the game that really sealed the game for us. With the beginning of the game, opening the game with making a lot of points for us from threes. And then like in the middle, there's a lot of like him like slashing to the basket and getting lobs and getting dunks. And, just there was a whole mix of OG's skill set on display last night in a more complete way than ever before, is what I'm saying. And I think I remember that Nuggets game you're talking about. But to me, the fact that he was so good shooting, the way he was stealing, and then like the dunks were fun. Like that one dunk with Fred where he pulled a reverse in transition, that was such a pretty play. It's so pretty that Earl Watson had to post it on his Instagram. But yeah, it's interesting. He has a lot of good games, but this is definitely one of his best games of his career so far. The one last night for OG. Seymour saying Koloko will learn with more experience, bright future. He has such a bright future, and it's scary. It's scary to the rest of the league. We know he's a good defensive player. He's going to have an impact on the defensive end. But the thing people don't realize or not talking about is he has offensive potential too that is really kind of scary. Like he could be like an almost 20-point scorer. And, it's just him cleaning up certain things and getting better and more comfortable, maybe filling out and getting a little stronger. He could do a lot offensively. Forget about the defensive side of the ball. That is going to be very interesting. That's why it's mystifying that this man went in the second round and nobody picked him. And he's in the top 10 of the rookie rankings already, and that deservedly so. So why wasn't he drafted in the top 10 in the league? Well, their mistake, our game. Let's go. You win once again, Bobby Webster. You win once again. Yes. I love it. Cool Cat saying, I'm happy to see that both Pascal and OG understand that they have to be meaner. Also happy to hear that Pascal explained some perspective for OG and OG embraced the advice and displaying it. Cool. Cool. Pascal really is an interesting leader. He's not a natural leader. It's not really in his personality. He really is a leader by example on this team in many ways, but maybe in some ways he's expanding his role into more traditional leadership type things like a Fred VanVleet or a Scottie Barnes would be doing on the court. I saw something that happened in the game last night that was very interesting. That when Christian came out of the game at one point in the second half, and he was having some trouble with the refs and different things. I think that it was like a weird foul call, and he was a little frustrated. Pascal got up from his seat at the end of the bench and came and sat next to him immediately after he got the bench, and immediately started mentoring him and talking to him about what just happened on the court. And I was really happy to see that he made him he got up on purpose and came and sat next to him and was in his ear helping him immediately after he came off the court. So I think Pascal's role is changing as a leader on this team, and maybe it's evidenced by something like this, like him saying, OG, look at what I've done here with the Raptors. And, maybe, you could mimic me in some ways in this way and stuff like that. And maybe OG's eyes get open to it a little bit more. And we see some of that, like taking the brass ring and taking more responsibility and doing more on the court kind of things like OG. So that's really cool. And I like Pascal, especially since he's hurt right now, expanding his leadership role to being more of a mentor and talking on the bench with guys. Like he did for Christian last night. And of course, he's going to do that for Christian. He should. Good morning, Randolph Phillips. Blessings from Randolph Phillips. Great Raptor freak, Randolph Phillips. Blessings to our beloved Raptor freaks. We've got the victory. Yeah. I needed that win to boost my spirit. Lost my mother. Oh man, I'm sorry, Randolph Phillips. My condolences in all kinds of ways to the Phillips family and all your loved ones. And I'm sorry about hearing about this. I hate hearing this. So the game was a good distraction. Go Raptors, man. I hope you get a really good chance to honor her in all kinds of different ways in your life. And I really do have my deepest sympathies and condolences for you, Randolph. I hate hearing this, but it is great to have a healing salve of having some, Raptors basketball to give you a good distraction. Man, I hate hearing that. Monique saying, good morning, almost like a nail wrenching win. Monique, you were there at the game. How was the atmosphere in the building? How was it? Was it pensive? Doug Smith described the atmosphere in the building as being kind of like bad, saying, I don't know. It's a Houston Rockets. So sometimes the fan group that comes there, they'll come for the Celtics in a certain way that's different than for the Rockets. And sometimes the energy is kind of bad in the building because maybe the fans expect the Raptors just to kick their ass. And when it's a kind of a struggle like it was last night, and then the Rockets are actually winning for a good part of the game, our fans can kind of turn into kind of like, it's not that they're engaged in the game anymore. It's more like they're just kind of like maybe they're playing PlayStation out in the concourse, or they're going and getting more beers or something like that. I don't know. They're distracted. And that's why we have to continue to just do the defense chants and cheer loud no matter what. I don't care if we're down by 15 points. Let's get them out of the mud by helping them with the cheering energy. And that I know Houston's a tough opponent for our crowd to get up for in some ways, but we still need to do this. And as they said after the game, every game in the NBA is hard to win. None of these games are easy to win. These are professional teams and they're all very good. And even if they don't have as much experience like the Rockets, this is not easy to do, to beat Jalen Green, a team that just put like 137 points on Orlando the other night and won that game. They are a good scoring, potent offensive team. And sometimes it's hard to just cage them in and box them in to stopping them from just going crazy and scoring all over the place with their athleticism and flying all over the place. So we have to keep perspective that even though it's a Houston and they're 2-10 now, it's still every single game is earned and not easy. And this was reiterated last night by Fred VanVleet in his post-game interview. It's like, none of these games are easy. You can say it's the Houston Rockets, and sure, we should have blown them out of the water. We shouldn't have looked so bad at times. But it's the NBA, baby. And this is just how it is. Every game is hard. It's so hard. Yeah. Let's see. But I'm glad you got to go, and they did win ultimately. And yeah, I hope you got to see a lot of your friends and just have a good time last night, Monique. Mike's saying Lex cooking today with the rocket fuel. And I love automatic killer cat. That's perfect. Yeah, automatic. It's automatic. Yeah, Otto's got a lot of good, easy nicknames to make out of his name for sure. I'm really, really happy about Otto being on our team. And I really love this feeling of security that I get from seeing veterans coming off our bench. It contrasts so much with the bench from Tampa and last year that we just didn't have any kind of steadiness or any kind of like response, or just like it's just like we know we can depend on Otto and Thad to be vets and do vet things and not make boneheaded mistakes or silly stuff. They're really, really cleaned up and smart. And that's really important. Seymour is feeling Randolph's loss also. Respect and condolences from all of the Raptors freak family to you today, Randolph Phillips and your family. Shane Waters is saying, yes, sending you positive vibes. Condolences from Tom Duke. She is in heaven, a better place. Yes, she is definitely up in heaven, Randolph Phillips. I know that if you are her son, that she was a great lady. I'm a fun guy. Hey, bro, that Van Vliet photo with you is really throwing me off. He looks like almost the same height. How's Fred like 6 feet at most? Well, he's actually almost my height. I mean, I'm 6'3", 6'4", and he's like, he's 6 foot. So that's about accurate for where he should be standing next to me. So I know that's a weird picture. And that is also from 2018. So that is like a 4 or 5 year old picture. But yeah, Fred was so awesome to meet that night. And it wasn't a meet and greet. So I really got time to hang out and talk to him for like 5 minutes, which is so much nicer than getting in a line and getting shuffled through and getting like 2 seconds to talk to Scottie Barnes. Well, I actually got to see Fred in real life on the street, and I actually got to just talk to him, which was cool. He was very, very cool dude, very nice man. And I told him, I was like, look, Fred, we believe in you. Just keep shooting, and you will get those shots in. And that was the year before the championship. And he had not met Kawhi yet either. It's crazy. Cowboys saying, what's up, Lex and Raptors Freak? Let's go. We are champions in the making. Let's go. We were champions yesterday. We will be champions again, Bradley. Ta-da. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. If you have problems around your house with a home remodel, or you need some windows wash or your carpet clean or any kind of just things you need done around the house, Brothers Tada in the phone book, 416, go and call Tada. They will come to your house and help you with things that you need done around your house. David S is here. Good to see David S with the cup. Yes, trivia leader, David S. Don't forget, David, you're going to get that Vince Carter bobblehead knockoff by the end of the year. Your trophy. I see you holding your trophy there. And remember, this is the thing you got to remember, David. The trivia games are on the second day off when 2 days are off between games. So they're not just on Tuesdays. You're going to have to mark those days on your schedule so that you can be there for the trivia games during the season. Because we had a trivia and you weren't there recently. And I want you to know when the games are. The second day off, when there's 2 days off between games. There will always be a trivia then during the season. But good to see you, David. I hope you and Peter are doing well. And yeah, let's go. Patrick Douglas is saying your lineup described with Pascal is dynastic for 2-3 years while the younger ones mature. Dynastic domination is being formed. It's coming. Yes, Patrick Douglas can see the future. He has a little bit of Nostradamus in him. He can see. He has a little like a mirror on the wall, like in Romper Room. It's like he can see something's coming up, and he likes this combination to get it ready for the youngsters. While they get ready, we can use this combination that I described of Fred, OG, Pascal, Otto, and Thad as a super ultra veteran championship kind of team that can really, really be sound and vet. And I think this is really good. We've got the starters. They're designated starters. We've got the alternate starter. That's Christian Koloko. He has definitely been designated the alternate starter. Nick Nurse is saying that it's the 5 guys normally, but if none of them are there, it's definitely Christian coming in first after that. And then you got the tag team of the bad boys, the energy of Precious and Chris. And then you got this tag team of vets that come off the bench that can give us a whole kind of other look. It's almost like hockey lines. It's like we got the starting line, we got the energy line, we got the vet line. It's really a lot like a hockey team with different lines that they put out on the court. So this is going to be interesting. And I think you're right, Patrick, that this is something we lacked last year was veteran leadership. And that's why getting Thad in the in the middle of the season was huge, was a huge, huge boost to our team. And having Otto Porter Jr. just double down on that. And we're seeing really good stuff from this. I like vets off the bench. Sure, you want to develop young guys and bring them up, but you need that balance. And these dudes are a great balance for the youth on our team. It's really, really looking great. Mike's saying, Randolph, it's going to be tough at first, but remember, she's in your heart and mind, and the memories are the thing that matters. Hope you're able to feel positivity in this tough time. Raptor Freak Nation fam is here for you. And this is so true. I'll double down on this with Mike saying right here. And thank you, Mike, for such a beautiful comment for Randolph today. Thank you so much. Monique saying, that's how you show up. OG, wow. And pray for Precious. Praying for Precious. Hopefully we'll hear good news today. The first initial reports, they are saying that it was a sprain. That's how they've been describing it so far. And, he was wearing a wrap after the game. He wasn't wearing an air cast. So he had just a wrap on it. So maybe he's not as hurt as we think. We all kind of go overboard with our looking at the injuries. Like the whole thing with Scottie recently, and me being like, no, he's not hurt. And then Nick said it before the game yesterday. They asked him, what's wrong with Scottie's ankle? He said, there's nothing wrong with him. I don't see anything wrong with him. It really was that he just had a bad game, and people want something to blame. They're like, oh, he obviously has his ankles messed up. That's why he got 5 points on Monday. No, maybe that he just had a bad game and has nothing to do with his ankle. Well, let's not overboard worry about any of their injuries, whether it's Scottie, Pascal, or Precious. Let's hope for the best. Let's put out that positive energy that it's not going to be as big a deal or it won't be as long. And then hopefully this is exactly true, because I really feel that way with injuries. They're unavoidable. They're going to happen. But we don't want to get chicken littling about them and say, oh, we're going to lose now because this person so-and-so is gone. And we also don't want to go towards the doctor that Josh Lewenberg puts on Twitter and make the worst possible case scenario out there the gospel, that this is exactly what's going to happen. Because I've had Kyle Lowry on this team for so many years, and they said Kyle will be out this amount of time, and he always came back earlier. He was always expedited and quicker than you think. And it's even happened with Pascal with his injuries at time. Now, the OG injury last year with his side, that took a long time, a lot longer than I thought. And that was the opposite. And I hate those kind of things. So I just hope for the best and think positive, send positive healing vibes, and think, Precious will be back for the next game. Let's just think that way right now. It's very much like Toronto Raptors NBA champions 2023. Toronto Raptors NBA champions 2023. Precious is not that hurt. Precious is not that hurt. He'll be fine. He's going to be back. That's really a good way to kind of maybe put good healing energy, good positive thinking energy out there, and good outcomes will come. And hopefully that's what happens. I don't know. We'll have to find out what the initial news about Precious is today. And we'll have updates, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow, I'm sure. And the injury report for the game tomorrow, we'll have to see what's up. Cool Cat saying Scottie is really the best place for his development, processing, winning basketball without having responsibility for the wins, stomping out bad habits, unlike his class, using variety of skills. This is so true, Cool Cat. This is a luxury that he can continue to develop and get better and better as a young player and still win. That, Jalen Green's got to lose, and he still hasn't really learned how to win yet. That in some ways he's going to be advanced, Scottie, because he'll be like a 3-year pro that's been in the playoffs a couple years already and has that experience over Cade Cunningham, over Josh Giddey, over Franz Wagner. And that really does help him. It's like a sweet spot. The team's got to be bad enough to get a very high draft pick like him at 4. And also they got to be good enough to bounce back and be a playoff team right away in his first year playing. And this is very Tim Duncan-ish. Like Tim Duncan gets drafted by the Spurs. They had the biggest turnaround in their record from the year before. They had one of the worst records, and they turn around and boom, all of a sudden one of the best records in the league and one of the biggest turnarounds in a record from one season to the next. And that Tampa year to last year really was like that it was very, very the same. And that special circumstance is what allows for what Cool Cat's talking about here is that, we were a good team that were Seward for 1 year, and he can come in and be a part of the winning right away. That is so valuable. And it doesn't waste any time for him to get winning and not have to wait and kind of like go through 3 or 4 years of developing and learning how to win with the team, like the Pistons or Orlando. And he's already doing it. I think you're exactly right, Cool Cat. And that's a fantastic observation. And he is so lucky. I'm sure he counts all of his blessings for this because he's smart enough to understand this and realize this. We know he is. So it's really good. He has a safety net that allows him to fail and develop at a group his own pace, but he still gets to win. I love it. Cowboy saying, "What's up, David? Everyone like and subscribe. Later, Lex got to go. He's got to go work. He's got to go clean the windows. He's got to go do what he does with Tada. You go, Bradley. You have a great Thursday afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow." Seymour saying, "OG brought the house down with that slam on the whole team. I was punching the air like, where are the refs at?" I know it was nasty. Sometimes those dunks by Scottie or OG, they're like frustration dunks because they're getting nailed. And they like that one on Vucevic was very much a frustration dunk by Scottie on Monday. Well, some of these OG dunks that last night were frustration dunks where I'm going to take it out on the rim a little bit. Like he was bending that rim down last night. OG was. He was getting up on that rim, and there was multiple times where I saw that rim get bent down. Like he's like really throwing it down. And that one where he went through the middle of the lane, and there were a bunch of rockets all around him, and he just strong. Like that's the one you're talking about. That was such a nasty dunk. We've had a couple really good highlights for ESPN down south in these last two games with Scottie and his dunk, and OG had a dunk last night that is being shown down there today. You go Raptors. You're going to win over the U.S. media eventually. Watch. You are going to get on the same level playing field with the other teams down there just because they will be forced to respect you. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's see. Click saying waiting for that game where Scottie dominates. It's coming. Just a matter of time. Click early in the game, didn't it seem like it was kind of going to maybe be last night? I mean, I just the way he was forcing himself into the paint and really, really like those shots that he was shooting down there, they didn't go in, all of them. Well, they're going to down the road. You know this, Click. As an astute fan of the NBA that's been watching it for a long time, you know that this is part of the development. That part of the problem is these guys can't just get the position or get to the spot. They never learned that. Well, that's not the problem with Scottie. Scottie can get the spot. It's just him finishing through the contact and making the shots. And that as he gets older as a player and more experience, he's going to make all those shots. He's going to become automatic down there. And I am so here for it. It's just a matter of time, like you're saying. And it could have been last night if he had just made some of those shots real easy. They might have gone to him all game and just let him beat them up all game long down low, because that is really easy baskets, high percentage baskets. And he's going to make like 60 to 70% of those shots in the next couple years. He's going to make like most of them all the time because he's going to really fine tune it and figure out the little intricate ways he can beat people with either his strength or putting that off shoulder into them. So he's shooting this way over them, different little tricks to free himself up to make sure he absolutely makes those shots and puts them in. So it's going to be fun. And I think it's not even like it's going to happen next month or it's happen next year. It could happen next week. It could happen tomorrow. It's like we're waiting for it. And it could happen at any of these times. I don't want to put any pressure or schedule on him that it has to happen by this time or this time, but it can happen at any time. And it might have happened last night if some of those early low post shots had gone in easier, but they weren't going in completely. But that's just working it out. And you know they're going to go in someday. You know that, Click, that they're just too easy shots. And he's just got to clean it up. That's going to be very dominant down there. David's saying, I like the lineup with Banton, Koloko, OG, Thad, and Otto. Yeah, Banton was mixed in the game last night, like 12 minutes, 2 of 7. He missed all 3 of his 3-point attempts, 4 of 6 at the line, 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, +5, 8 points. He wasn't bad. He was a good little fill-in on the bench. And the bench scoring was lower than them. Once again, we lost the bench battle. But this really is symptomatic of OG and Fred scoring so many points for us. I mean, they had 59 points of our points, which is like I guess that's more than half at 116. So they had more than half of our points just in two individuals. And that's part of the reason why the Rockets bench scored 34 points and we only scored 28 or something like that. Yeah, 28. We scored 28 and they scored 34. So we got outscored on the bench. But I thought Delano was pretty good. That lineup in particular, I don't really remember it too much. It was the other one with Fred and Scottie in there instead of Banton and Koloko that I was really impressed with. But anything with Thad and Otto out there last night was good. Really, anything with those two guys. Patrick's saying, get off Twitter, Lex. I deactivate. I'm totally political with social media. You're totally political with social media. I want to know where to go. The next place is going to be. You know, Elon messed up. He's going to lose this account. He's going to make this thing become MySpace. And it really is. Somebody's got to be an opportunist at this point and say, this is the new Twitter. And everybody will just migrate there and everybody will just be there. I mean, Elon Musk is one of the stupidest people I've ever. I can't understand how somebody like him could have so much money and do what he does because he was really stupid. Like, he's really dumb. Like, he's in that school of like Donald Trump and George W. Bush Jr. They're both, everything that they've ran in their life has failed. Like, Trump ran all kinds of different things. All of his businesses failed. George W. Bush, the same thing. And now Elon, it's the same kind of thing. These guys aren't businessmen. They're just very rich, privileged sons of rich people that have inherited money, and they've screwed up that money like in different ways and never been successful really. And Elon Musk is really like, I'm getting to the point where I don't know that there's already parody sites of LeBron James putting out misinformation and stuff. There's because this blue check fiasco is really crazy. That that you can pay to get a blue check and you can just impersonate whoever the fuck you want on Twitter at this point. So there's going to be even worse misinformation on there. So I think like Elon has certain things he wants to do with free speech. Well, you're an idiot. Because Twitter was doing pretty good with free speech until you showed up, and now it's kind of going down the toilet. And you know what? You're going to lose a whole bunch of money because Twitter, everybody's going to leave. A lot of people have already left, and I just want to know what the alternative is because I'll switch to it. And I think that we figured it out, and that's easy. Basically, it's going to be something that's kind of the same, that is run in a different way by better people, and people just need to go to that. So I don't know. Tell me, Patrick Douglas, what you do your social media on now, because I'm not even that thrilled with Facebook either. I love YouTube. YouTube's awesome. YouTube's doing a lot of good things, but some of the other platforms, I'm like, I kind of want to get away from. Even Instagram has kind of like gone downhill, and there's a lot of problems with it in the last 6-7 months. Let's see. Randolph Phillips is saying, I hope for a speedy recovery for Precious and Pascal. Yes. Pascal, hopefully it is right around 2 weeks. And if it's a little bit more, at least, like I said, it's not a really horrible part of the season. If we were playing Boston and like Milwaukee and a whole bunch of these kind of teams in these weeks right now, I'd be like, oh, this sucks that Pascal's out. But we can kind of weather his absence. Now, Precious, we don't want too many people going to that list. Let's just put it that way. We can have 2 or 3 guys on that list from time to time, but we want guys coming on and off of it. Like, we don't want guys going on it, but we want guys coming off of it. And at the most, maybe 2 or 3 guys on there. We don't want to get a whole bunch of injuries. Monique is saying, update from Christian Siakam. Pascal is fine. Pascal looked good on the bench. He sat with me for most of the game. Christian loves every minute with the 905. This is awesome, Monique. I don't know. Are you talking to Christian's like directly? Are you getting this information directly from Christian Siakam's mouth? I love this. He's saying that Pascal's feeling good. He's looked good. He feels good. I love that. And he's really enjoying his time with the 905. That's fantastic. You go, Christian Siakam. And if you're talking directly to Monique, I love this insider information. Thank you, Monique Lawrence, for dropping knowledge on the Raptor Freak Nation and letting us know. Christian's saying Pascal's doing great. That so far with his injury, he's rehabbing, he's feeling okay. It's just that he's got to take the time to heal the abductor. So this is really good. Tom Duke saying Ja Morant got fined for asking a ref if he was playing FanDuel. Yeah, I saw this. This is interesting. Wonder if he gets fined and also if he knows something. Seems a weird thing to say. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, in some ways, he's alluding to the Tim Donaghy kind of stuff. I mean, that is a big insult for a referee. Very, very big insult. That's a betting site. And he's basically asking him, "Are you betting on the game?" And I can see why they got really upset with him. I think it's hilarious. And I think freedom of speech. If he thinks that, then so what? I think it's hilarious. But he did get a tech. And I don't know. I don't think he should get any further trouble. He's got to pay the technical fine. And he suffered the technical already. So, but it is kind of funny that he said that. Tom saying, sorry, got a foul, not fined yet. Yeah, I don't think he will get fined. If he gets fined, Tom, once again, I think the NBA is no fun, and they're doing way too much overstep with like regulating things. If they're fining people for stuff like this, Mike saying, Mo with the inside info, Mo. We should say inside info, Mo. That's like one of her nicknames, inside info, Mo. I like that, inside info, Mo. It rhymes. Callie's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Callie. I found that the Rockets were really fast. Yeah, they're very fast. The Jalen Green specifically, he covers ground very quickly. And in some ways, his body seems to defy the laws of time and space. I know that's a very interesting way of putting it, but he's so little that I don't totally understand how he gets up high so quickly and he goes over here so fast. Like he really has some weird hops that allow him to elevate quickly, but then also he kind of like, Jordan used to like horizontally move, like he jump and he like kind of fly. Well, Jalen Green kind of flies too. It's weird. It's like he floats. Like, does this man know how to levitate? Is he like doing Chris Angel stuff? Like he knows how to like literally like levitate, because he's levitating to a degree with some of the way he moves and flies around. But yeah, I found them very fast also, and that was annoying, especially in transition. You really got to get back quickly with them, and if you take any time, they're already back the other basket and they're scoring. So their transition's so quick that they really put people on their heels. And if you're not getting back quick enough, they're going to get easy baskets. And that's a lot of what their success was in the first half last night, was really running the ball down our throats and just beating us down the end of the court. And that was annoying. It was annoying. But that's part of their youth, is that they can do that to a degree. All right. Monique's saying, shout out to Otto. Threes are so beautiful. Man, his post game was nice. Chef kiss. Let's go, boys. Yeah. I like seeing different Raptors get interviews after the game, because that means different guys are contributing in different places. And we saw Otto in the media scrum last night. Good to see Otto there. Very good veteran answers. Now, one answer he had was like, they asked him, are you enjoying the city? Are you in the city? He said, I'm not in the city. It makes me think that him and his wife are living in a Mississauga, or maybe a borough outside of Toronto, like maybe Brampton or something, maybe not Brampton, but Burlington, like Chuck Swirsky used to live out there somewhere. But I don't think he's living in Toronto. And I don't think he's the kind of guy that is going out in public and doing too much out and about, especially with a young baby. Like it's really going to be probably all basketball activities and then spending time with his wife and his child at home. So he's probably not discovering or exploring Toronto too much right now. But, he has probably in the past, like even as a visitor when he came, and obviously when he was courting his wife, he had to have been here and spending time running around Canada and getting to know Toronto to a degree. But it was interesting. His answer was like, no, I've not been in the city. And I was like trying to think, wait, is it because he's all right? Is he saying that because he doesn't live here? He's saying, okay, his home base may be somewhere else, and that's where his home base is, but they must have a home base here. Maybe their home base here is actually not in the proper city of Toronto, and that he's out in the 905 or something way out west. I don't think he's out east. He's probably out west somewhere where he's living. So I was trying to figure that out. It's very interesting. Patrick Douglas is saying Christian is getting those unethical rookie foul calls. Even Leo Routens was emphasizing how stupid the calls against Christians were. Yeah. Rookie calls for rookie, a second round rookie even. He's not even a lottery pick. He won't even get that lottery pick consideration that some of the rookies in his rookie class will. And, it's true. This is why Nick Nurse politicked this very early on in the season. He was telling the refs, y'all need to realize he's a Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year for Arizona, and that this is part of his MO, that he's a shot blocker, and y'all need to start allowing this. Now, some of the refs did. The ones on Sunday did allow for this, but the ones on Monday and last night did not. And this is going to be a learning curve. And sadly, this is just a part of it. This will hurt his rookie season and make it harder for him. But hopefully he will get more respect in different ways, and this will be easier and easier. This is the tough climb. This is especially hard at the five position. That every single five that comes in this league has to battle foul trouble and learning how to not play with getting fouls. Then you add in that not only is he a young five, but he's also got a very specific special frame that's very wiry and long, and the illusion of fouling other people is very easy to see, even if it's not there. So that's part of the whole thing with Christian, specifically with the foul trouble and the refs and why they're calling it this way. It's like he may not be fouling people, but because his arm looks a certain way and is so long, it may look like he is from certain angles. And that's part of the problem. But we're going to see. It's going to get better and better for him. And I love Leo calling them out and yelling at them for it. I love what Jack and Leo are doing these days. They're very, very much not afraid to criticize the referees and get mad. Like at one point, Jack wanted to say a cuss word in the middle of the game because Matt was like, you want to say a cuss word because the way the refs are calling the game. And once again, that's another symbol or symbolic or signifier of the refs doing something a little shady is when Jack's a little chippy about the referee's calls and kind of pointing it out to us. That is a good sign that there is ref manipulation going on. And there was last night. They were definitely calling it in favor of Houston with the foul calls, very much letting them be physical with us, with OG specifically, and Christian and Scottie. And then at the other end, we would just touch them or just brush them, and there would be a foul. Like Chris Boucher would get a stupid two-touch foul, just barely touched on. Like there was a Fred foul that was really dumb that pissed me off. Like he just barely touched the guy on his sides, and it didn't really alter the shot, but they called a foul on him. So there was some bad reffing last night that wasn't fair towards the Raptors. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Cool Cat saying, Raptor Freak, my apologies for not believing you that Scottie's not hurt. Laugh out loud. Watching his movements and expressions closely, his gait side to side, pout, screeching, grimacing are all youthful expressions. He's like a baby boy. He just wants to express himself. The baby is expressed. No, he's not a baby. He kills babies in the game. He gets that baby on his back and he dunks on them and stuff like that. But he does have a baby face. And it is very expressive, and that is part of it. I don't know. I just want to always believe this is part of my Raptor Freak positivity. Is I'm just gonna believe that they're all super healthy and they're just feeling real good and everything's happy in their lives. And the more I think that, hopefully, that is what is actually true. And I will do a little of like blinders on some injuries, even if they are injured. I may actually just lie to myself. I'll go delusional and I'll do MAGA kind of stuff on whether the Raptors are actually hurt or not. Is that yeah. That's where I get like wrong with my facts. But I mean, listen, don't apologize to me. I'm just glad I was right in some ways because I don't want him to be hurt. We don't want him to be hurt. And it could be that he is hurt and they're just hiding it too. But either way, David's saying, sorry, we were trying to say Scottie is not hurt. I mean, watching the last 3 or 4 games, I find that very hard to believe. He can't even jump, let alone guard a guy. Yeah, David, this has been a topic du jour of the week. Everybody's saying he's hurt, and I don't believe it. I'm like saying, no, he's not hurt, David, because he's not in the injury list, first of all. And like I've tried to explain, just because he only scored 5 minutes, 5 points in the game on Monday doesn't mean he was hurt. That just means he had a bad game. And we can look for excuses for why he doesn't play well on certain nights and try and blame he's probably injured. But I don't like doing that. I think that we should just allow him to have like duds here and there and not look further into it and say, well, he only had 5 points probably because he was hurt. And you could sign and say, oh, he's not moving this way or he's not moving that way. I don't know. Cool Cat's saying he moved pretty good last night. And that maybe it was just that Chicago on Monday, it just looked weird because he's not hurt. There's no reason to think he's hurt. I know you think he's hurt, but I don't think he's hurt. And Nick Nurse doesn't think he's hurt. And that I think Nick would know the most. And he's probably, if he is lying and he's covering up an injury for Scottie, okay, then he has a reason to. And I'm just going to believe what Nick's saying. It's trust him aside, trust in Bobby, trust in Nick. And he's saying Scottie is not hurt to his knowledge. There's nothing wrong with him. He said this before the game yesterday. There's not a single thing wrong with him. That's from Nick's words, not me. That's him. And I was just saying that in the morning. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with him. And then Nick said it himself. Seymour saying, they asked OG, who you going for in the World Cup? His answer killed me. You got to pick one. No, I don't. I love that when he said that. I watched that clip too. They're asking a bunch of people who they're rooting for in the World Cup. Obviously, those Cameroonian guys are going for Cameroon. Scottie was tested on his allegiance to the United States. And he said, I'll root for Canada as long as they're not playing US. Because when they're playing US, I'm rooting for US. And that's the right answer, Scottie. Because you are a U.S. guy and you play for the U.S. Olympic team, and it is important for you to stay true to your home country. So I don't get mad at you. Now, Nick Nurse, he said at the end of it, he thinks that Canada will win the World Cup. That's a little far-fetched, probably, but hey. But Pascal thinks Brazil's got a really good shot. He was kind of giving us his real soccer acumen of what he sees with the playing field. I would listen to Pascal out of all those guys. He probably is the one who watches soccer the most intently as all them. But I love OG's little fierceness in that moment. It's like, yeah, fight back with these interviewers, OG. They're like Caper Ness is calling you a liar, and now she's saying you have to pick one. He said, no, I don't. I do not have to pick one of these teams between the UK, the USA, and Nigeria, my 3 home countries. I do not have to pick between one of them. Go OG. It's like he's a gangster. He's stealing the ball in the court, and he's saying, I don't have to fucking answer your question. I love it, Seymour. I love that moment too. And the funny thing was, I didn't hear that moment. I watched it in subtitles and I was reading it, and I didn't actually hear him say it. But when I read it, it made me laugh just as loud as hearing it. Because I was like, oh, he just said, no, I don't. I was like, yes, you go, OG. I didn't actually hear him say it. I just saw the subtitles say, no, I don't have to. OG's so good. Sue saying good morning, everyone. Yeah, good morning, Sue. So good, so good. Sue saying, how about that steal Fred got in the second half? Just swiped it out of his hands. Loved it. It was kind of like he was coming around. He just saw it. And he's like, oh, I gotta get it. He grabbed it and just took it, yanked it right out of their hands. Right out of their hands. It's like he was coming around. He's like, oh, you're coming around me? Zoop. Just taking it. I love the steals by our team right now. It really shows like really smart and timing and just skill. There's something about the way Fred and OG steal the ball that's really fun. Monique saying, good morning, Sue. What does Josh Lewenberg have to say about Fatty Daddy now? So funny. I know. I mean, really, it's like he's just going to pick a different player. Watch. He'll start harping about how Wancho should be out there more. Why isn't Wancho playing more? He's just going to, he's just trying to find those little strings to pull and try and pull things apart with dumb shit. Like, oh, why isn't a Malachi playing more? You need to put Malachi out there. Are you Eric Flynn? No, it's like, yeah, thank you, Monique. Thank you. And if you see Josh at the game, please ask him, are you happy with how much Thad Young is playing right now? Please ask him. We need to get his okay for how much Thad Young plays in the games, Josh Lewenberg. Click saying what Otto is doing shouldn't be that impressive. It's just a reflection of how bad our bench is. He's playing great D and hitting open threes, what every bench player should be doing. Yeah, okay, I can get behind this logic. Click. That's true. It's just that we've had such a bad bench for so long. He's like a breath of fresh air. It's kind of like when Kem and Freddie Gillespie showed up in the Tampa year. We didn't have a center. And like all of a sudden we're like, these guys are the greatest players in the world because we didn't have that and we were lacking it. And now they're filling it. Koloko's a similar kind of thing with the rim protection. I can agree with this. I don't think that he's doing the bare minimum, though. I think that he's really at the same premium level of all around goodness that the starters and the guys who come off the bench first, like Boucher and Precious, are at. So in some ways, there is like, sure, there's a certain basic baseline of what a bench player is supposed to contribute in the game. It's just we've lacked it for so long that it is really kind of nice to have it. And sure, maybe it is kind of basic, but listen, this is new to us and it's exciting. It's exciting. And we want to keep going in this direction and get more and more of this kind of feel from our bench and continue going this way. So yeah, I agree with you. Isn't anything extraordinary or above average. It's just something that should have normally been there already. And now finally we have it. Mike saying, exactly, Mo. The real ones knew it was conditioning and it wasn't fair throwing them into the mix against playoff type teams. And now we will see more minutes for them with an easier matchup timeline. I think it's interesting how we can have different, like I said, lines that come out. We can have that energetic line, but if we really do need to clean things up and have more steadiness, we have Young and Porter, and we can bring them out. It's really, really, really good, really, really good. And I like that versatility in that with different sets of guys. There's different guys. I like that. All right, let me see. All right, hang on. We're getting, I just went by something. Callie's here. Callie's saying, anybody hear about Precious's injury? Not yet. We'll find out more as soon as I know. If somebody wants to go check right now and kind of add to the chat at this moment, if there's any latest news, we can see what's up. Cream Thomas is saying, you want to spark off the bench? Banton came in and was immediate plus 12. That's not a spark. That's a fucking firecracker. That's a mortar. That's a Roman candle. That's a big that they would do down at the Ash Bridges Beach. Yeah, I've called them that before, like a firecracker, a firework, something, just a spark. And definitely Banton. All right, Kareem's saying something about Banton that I'll go with. Sure, he did some good stuff last night. He didn't play that long, and he was a plus 12. That shows something. That's similar. Actually, he wasn't a plus. He was a plus 5. He wasn't a plus 12. He was a plus 5. But he was good. He was good. And I really like what Banton did, for sure, as far as things, for the most part. Let's see. Boom, kaboom. Well said from David. Monique's saying, hi, Sue. OG's going for Defensive Player of the Year, and we are here to see it, man. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Omari's giving condolences to Randolph Phillips also. Lolita is also giving condolences. Yeah, this is a tough day, but I'm glad that you got a good Raptor win to help you a bit just with how you feel. Seymour saying at Cali, Rockets are fast for real. Young legs, they really are fast. Jalen Green in particular. Cool Cat saying condolences to you and your family, Randolph. Hugs from our Raptor freak family. For sure, Randolph, we're here for you. And we'll be here every morning, and we'll continue to be here for you. So lean in on us, and we're there for you if you need anyone to talk to. You can always comment me on YouTube, and I will talk to you. And if you're on Facebook, I'll be your Facebook friend if you want to find me. Sue's giving condolences also. Monique's saying last night was Indigenous night at the game, and it was beautiful on-court stuff. The shirts are fire. News and notes, Raptors coaches open house is up and coming soon. Hope you guys sign up. Crowd was kind of last night, Monique, at the arena. Not so good. I like what you're saying here. That Indigenous night was really great. I love seeing the snotty nosed Res kids out there performing at halftime. They're actually an artist that I've followed for a long time and I really enjoy. And it was kind of cool to see them get their dream of playing at a Raptors halftime game. They said that this is something they've always wanted to do, and they really enjoyed being there for it. And it's really nice. Like, I went to the game last year that was the Indigenous Heritage game. And there's so much going on in between the timeouts with dancers and different artists and different things going on. It's such a fantastic celebration of Indigenous people in Canada. And I love that so much. And I went recently to the ROM. There's an exhibit there for a couple months. Really, really good artist. I forget what his name is. It's like Mothman or something like that. Knockman or something. It's really beautiful art. And I highly recommend everybody go to the ROM and check out this display. It's a temporary display. It's only going to be up for a few months, but really everybody should go check it out. What's the guy's name? Knockman? Let me see what is ROM artist, Indigenous art. It's Kent Mockman. Kent Mockman. Go to the ROM and see Kent Mockman's display there. It's fantastic. Absolutely beautiful, amazing pieces that really tell you a lot about the history of Indigenous people here in Canada and North America. And it's powerful. It'll get across to you some stuff. It's really important. Alex, good to see you here. I hope you have some other comments. David saying, yeah, I was here for the trivia last time, but none of my comments were going through. Wait, you were here on that Sunday and you weren't going through? That's weird. I don't like to hear that, David. And I hope you weren't that frustrated about it. I'm friends with Peter on Facebook. If you guys have problems with this, you guys need to message me and let me know, because I don't like hearing that. Okay, good to know. Kareem saying Precious needs to bring that crashing the boards mentality like he did against his former team. It would be a good way to ease himself into games by getting easy buckets under the rim. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird with him. Like I think he's on the right path in a lot of what he's doing. I like that he's aggressive with the ball, but in some ways maybe he does need to just get back to the basics and worry about his defense and crashing the boards and not so much his offensive stuff. That this is part of the reason why OG developed the way that he did. He really focused on the defense stuff and made sure all that stuff was important and then the offense was a second thought. Well, it seems like Precious in some ways is doing the inverse, that he's making it's not that he's a bad defender. He's playing very good defense and he's very capable. It's just that he has lapses, as Nick Nurse put it. This is the whole reason why he had the meeting with them before the game yesterday, is that he's messing up on certain plays and not playing well enough, and he wants them to clean it up. Now, so if he really rededicates himself to defense and rebounding, this is, yeah, I could see this being smart, Kareem, as far as getting back on track with his offense. That always seems to be the smart way to do it. Scottie's thinking this way also, that if he's not playing as well offensively, well, he'll just double down and play really good defense and do everything else right, and the offense will come. And I think that this is something maybe Precious may need to get back to basics on when he comes back from this injury. Hopefully it's not too long. G's saying it's a sprained ankle, it looks like. Okay. All right. Well, the official word, that's what they were describing it as, is a sprained ankle. Nothing too crazy. Most saying, who's watching the 905 game tonight? Randolph, thinking of you from the Raptor Freak crew. Yes, tonight, the home game opener of the Raptors 905 out at Paramount in Mississauga against the Westchester Knicks. If y'all are going to the game, have a good time. I will be watching the game tonight. So, y'all, we have Raptors basketball to watch. It's the G League. And it's the Westchester Knicks' first home game for the 905 this season. So you go 905, Jeff Doughton Jr., Ron Harper Jr., Gabe Brown, and all the rest of y'all. Y'all get it done tonight and beat the Knicks. G's saying there are still a group of fans calling Fred a ball hog. The concept of feed the hot hand is lost on them. Sometimes a player needs to step up and bail the team out. Yeah, whatever. Listen, I think some of these people really are Philadelphia fans and that they really just see like him have one bad game and they really want to capitalize on that one bad game in the psyche of Raptors fans and really kind of make them second guess him beyond this team, because ultimately they just want him off this team. There's people on other team nations that come into our spaces and really bad talk Fred and try to get real Raptor fans to agree with them and get momentum with it. Well, realize this is what they want because they know he's a big piece of a championship team. He's a big time winner and he does all kinds of things to kill the other teams. And this is why some of the people that are championing this or have a problem with Fred or call him a ball hog or want us to get him traded, they're not real Raptor fans. You cannot stand against Fred VanVleet at this point and consider yourself a real Raptor fan in my book. There's just too many things he's done to help us. Anybody who's talking down or slandering Fred VanVleet at this point is not really a Raptor fan. They may identify as a Raptor fan, but y'all need to really check yourself and kind of think about your motives on why you feel this way about Fred and really look at the whole picture and understand he is so important to our team and he's so good and he bails us out. And we saw things like what he did in the last couple games. The last 3 games, he's been absolutely fantastic. And, we're not going to please everyone all the time. But I'm going to say to Raptor fans right now that are anti-Fred or want to trade Fred, you're idiots. And y'all just need to shut the fuck up. And some of y'all question whether you're actually even Raptor fans. You may actually be Celtic fan that's trying to get a guy off our team by some confusion on social media spaces to try and, they see an opportunity where he has one game where he's really bad. He didn't score any points hardly. And now you're saying, oh, maybe Raptors fans are upset with him and they'll come after him. And you're trying to incite that fire by taking the bellows and put air on it, oxygen to fan the flames. And no, we ain't doing that. We don't do that here at Raptor Freak Channel. And we encourage all Raptor fans to know, why are the motives of people saying this? Oh, you think he's a ball hog? Well, somebody's got to carry the ball. And if somebody's a ball hog and we win and they make shots, there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, it's crazy. Click saying the Thunder are going to be tough to beat. It's a tough game. Not just because they're playing fairly well these days. SGA is playing out of his mind. It's on the road. The Oklahoma City arena can be tough to win in, and it'll be fun. We'll do the preview tomorrow, and I'll have the referees and update on Precious and his injury and stuff like that. Let's see. Mike's saying David Robinson was hurt that year, and the Spurs got the first pick. And Tim Duncan, then David Robinson came back with Tim and built that culture up. David Robinson, the Admiral, was family, team first, basketball right. It's such a similar situation to Scottie Barnes in some ways. There's a lot of parallels in a lot of ways with Tim Duncan and Scottie Barnes and their entry into the league and the teams they're on. Yeah, Robinson missed that whole year before, and that was why the Spurs were so bad that year. And some ways I feel like some teams have tried to do this since. They're like, oh, they see the success of the Spurs. David Robinson misses a year, and they get Tim Duncan, and then boom, all of a sudden, Twin Towers and a dynasty. Well, some teams may have been like, yeah, you go ahead and sit a year, and we'll be really bad, and we'll try and get somebody else. So they don't have the same kind of situation. David Robinson really needed to be out. And missed that time. And the Spurs were really bad in that year that he was missed. And that was why they got Duncan. But yeah, it's a really interesting situation. And it does mirror the one with the Raptors and Scottie Barnes. Omari saying Precious looked really hurt. I think he cried. Yeah, he did look really upset. And he did look like he was in a lot of pain. And I hated seeing that because, listen, he's been such a tough dude. To me, he's been indestructible. And we saw a very humanistic, vulnerable side of him last night that I didn't necessarily like. And some, like I said earlier, I'm partly blaming Nick Nurse for making him feel unconfident with calling him out and putting him on blast in public. I hate that, Nick. Don't air our dirty laundry. And in some ways, that's dirty laundry. That's a private conversation between you and Precious. And you don't need to tell Doug Smith that shit. You don't need to tell Eric Corrine about that shit. Those guys don't deserve to hear that kind of stuff. You keep that inside stuff. We're so open about y'all and y'all's business with Open Gym and, me seeing Scottie on Twitch and knowing all this stuff about Scottie because of Twitch and their social medias and all this stuff, that some of this stuff still needs to stay private and inside the company. And I think that this thing with Precious was one of them. And maybe you'll think about this in the future because you put Chris on blast like this publicly before. And sure, it worked out with him. But some players this won't work with, and it can be a real disaster. And some of what happened with Precious last night was kind of a disaster on the down low with how you treated him before the game. It's like I said, I saw a different kind of Precious last night that was sheepish and uncomfortable and not totally confident. And I think for him to play absolutely the way he plays, maybe he has to be kind of delusional in some ways and just be like, yeah, I'm just so good. And I'm just so great. And I'm totally confident for him to be absolutely the best that he can be. Like the confidence he had after the All-Star break last season. Well, I don't think that this was the right kind of coaching for him. Callie's saying, hope it is just a sprain. Yes, I hope so too. Let's hope the best. All healing vibes going towards Mr. Achua today. Monique's saying Jack finally mentioned more on his Christmas sing-along on Raptors Tonight. I haven't watched Raptors Tonight yet. It's cool. I like that he's doing an album. He should. He totally should. Sue saying, G, you're so right about Fred. Honestly, some fans make me shake my head. Yeah. Like I said, the people that hate Pascal and Fred and want them traded, they're idiots. They've been around this whole time, and they just chirp up every once in a while. Alex is saying, let's go Raps. Only took 18 more shots to beat the Rockets by 6 points. Super frustrating. Can't buy a basket. Well, Alex, as long as that W is on the right side and it goes into our column and they take the L, I have no problem with it. This is a mantra that I have is just win. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. It could be the ugliest shit in the world. It could be a game where we're just like, how the fuck did we just win that? We didn't deserve to win that, but we still won that somehow, some way. Those kind of games, I love those games, even though it wasn't pretty. We could clean a whole lot up. It was dangerous that they did kick our ass for a while in the game last night, but in the end, we won it. And that's true. We took 18 more shots than them, and we only beat them. We beat them by more than 6 points, though. We actually beat them by 7. Okay, let's keep going. G saying, even though he was in a lot of pain, he was able to put some weight on it from what I could see. So I believe it's a sprain. Yeah, initially he looked like he was trying to walk it off, but then as he got closer, he's like, no, I can't. And then they tried to start helping him walk with it. He did try and walk it off when he first got up. And then he didn't really want to walk on it anymore. And then that's when he got upset and seemed like he was crying. And then Ron Harper helped him get back to the back. I hate this. I hate this so much. Like I said, Precious did not have a good day yesterday, and we don't like that. Sue's saying Thad and Otto work so well together. Otto said last night that he is so familiar with Thad that he knows exactly what he's going to do and where he's going to be. Yeah, that chemistry and that synergy is accrued over 2 years of playing on the Chicago Bulls together as teammates years ago. And a lot of that stuff has not been forgotten. It really is good. Familiarity is good on the NBA court. That if you have familiarity with your teammates and you really understand them, that is how you get better and better. That's part of the secret for the Golden State Warriors. They've been together for so long. They really know each other inside out. You don't think Steph Curry knows Draymond, Draymond knows Clay, and Clay knows Steph? These guys know each other inside out. And the more that OG and Fred and Pascal and Chris and Scottie and Precious and Gary, they all know each other, the better and better and better and better. And that combo of Thad and Otto is awesome. I love it so much. Cool Cat saying folks are looking at Tribal and Mastodon as alternatives to Twitter. Yeah, Mastodon. That's the one that I've heard of. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We just got to go migrate to a new place. When people, I'm not cool enough to set the trend. I'll just listen and say, oh, everybody's going to Mastodon. And then we'll go there. And then Elon will just be a failure. It's because it's really going that way on there. It's crazy. Twitter's changed so much just in like 3 or 4 days. It's really weird how much has changed since Elon Musk took over. G saying, Sue, they are aggressive. Same fans will fawn over Mitchell, whom takes even more shots. Makes no sense. Well, that gives it away right there, G. These are Cleveland fans. They're not Raptors fans. If they'll go crazy over Donovan Mitchell, but they'll bust Fred for the very same thing, that is a Cleveland fan who's coming in here. He may live in Toronto and he may say he's a Toronto fan, but for some reason he's just enamored with the Cavs and thinks that they're so amazing and awesome. There's a lot of hate from Cleveland Nation towards us. They want to be anointed as this top Eastern team now. Well, we beat them in the first game of the season, and sure, they're above us in record right now, and they're getting a lot of good feelings, but they know deep down inside there is an inferiority complex with the Toronto Raptors and Cleveland in a way. Forget about LeBronto. Y'all hang on to that so long. That's so long and dead. Everybody who was involved in LeBronto stuff has moved on and gone different places. And the team of Cleveland has nothing to do with the LeBronto era. So this is the thing. They know on the down low, Toronto's got their number. And that they know deep down inside, we are going to come and get them and beat their ass all season long before the end of the season is done. So Cleveland has a little bit of anger and hate towards us, partly because of Evan Mobley and Scottie Barnes in the rookie race, and partly because they have real issues with us. Like there's a lot of venom from them this season in particular. It's weird. Y'all are doing so well, but y'all hate Toronto so much. And I know part of it is Gary Trent and Darius Garland and that injury at the beginning of the season, but the venom from Cleveland Nation right now is awful. And understand that it just takes a couple of Cleveland Cavalier fans in a Raptor space acting or masquerading like they are Raptor fans talking about Fred VanVleet. And then all of a sudden they say something nice about Mitchell. Well, they may be just telling you who they are. It's much like Ghost comes in here and starts talking about Jack Armstrong. Well, you're a Philly fan, obviously. So look for the signs, and you can really kind of suss out what a person really is. They may be a wolf in sheep's clothing, masquerading as a Raptor fan. They're not really. They may be actually a Cleveland fan. So that's interesting. Let's see. Patrick Douglas is saying Jack Dorsey starting a new media. Sorry, Lex. For now, it's only YouTube. Okay, cool. Whatever it is, you guys tell me, and we'll go check it out, and we'll go there. But YouTube is a great place for me to be, and I want to stay here as long as possible. And keep doing what I'm doing here. Sue's saying, exactly, G. Too many people fall for the hype and have no idea what they're talking about or what they're really seeing on the court. Everybody likes having opinions, and basketball is a really easy thing to have opinions on because there's a lot to look at, and there's good places to be critical, fairly critical, but also people are just like to be critical, can just be critical of everything because there's never, ever a perfect game. So there's always something to point fingers at. So some people are fans of basketball just because they want to just point fingers and at people's fault. It's Nick Nurse's fault. Fire him. It's Fred's fault. Fire him. It's crazy. Gee, facts. And he legs out the defense. All right, let's see. Exactly logical. They gloss over the defensive part of the game. Okay. Yeah, Mitchell. Yeah, he really messes up their defense for sure. Click saying that's because of his athleticism and vertical. You're talking about Jalen Green. Yeah, he was impressive. It's crazy what Jalen Green can do. Like he really defies time and space. He really does. He's on a different level of gravity. I think like he's on moon gravity. It seems like to some reason, just the way he gets up there. All right, let's keep going. Monique is saying one thing I'd like Raptors to do next game is clean up everything in the fourth. That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, all right, let's look at the quarters 37-29 in the first quarter. Absolute disaster. Houston killing us. For the second quarter, 28-17. That's good. We kind of evened it up by halftime. And then we won the last two quarters by a combined 4 points, 29-28 and 30-27. Now, I don't like how much Houston scored in the fourth quarter, and maybe that's what you're alluding to, Monique, that they scored too many points. 27 points is too many for a fourth quarter stand where we really cut off the water, and that is what we don't like. I get that. Omari saying, why not Brampton? I don't know. Maybe he does live in Brampton. I don't know. Maybe I'm just piggybacking on Scottie's stupid like Brampton stuff this summer. That's like waste shoot from Brampton. Yeah, maybe Otto lives in Brampton. I'm just trying to think of like where these guys would live. Like if they're not living in Etobicoke or in Toronto, they would be in Mississauga. I know Chuck used to live in Burlington. Maybe I don't think anybody be over out east, like in Durham. I think they're more likely to be over in the western side of Toronto, because in some ways it's easier to get to the Scotiabank Arena from the west side on the Gardner and the QEW than trying to get there from over near where I am, over in Leslieville and further out into Scarborough. So I would think that they're probably living like the way he described it, he says, I'm not in Toronto. So I'm thinking that maybe he's in Mississauga. And that's what it is. It could be Brampton. I don't know, Omari. I don't want to diss Brampton because I know Brampton will come after some people just like they did with Scottie. G saying, I don't understand rookie and superstar calls. Do refs just not see contact or not? This just shows how bias impacts the game. Okay, G. Let's do a little bit of talking about referees. It really is like a relationship building thing. It's the refs build relationships with players. That's why Goran Dragic will get better calls than Christian Koloko because they've known him for like 15 years. And that really is what it is. They're getting to know you, getting to know all about you and the way you like to play and what you should be able to be allowed to do in your personal profile as a player. It's like OG is not totally following the rules. It's like they don't want him to be this physical guy. And part of the reason why that's why he gets called the way he is. So he's kind of not fitting in his box, but he's fighting to get more respect with the foul calls around him. Because, like I said, he gets treated like Shaq. He's so strong that they foul him all the time. He just doesn't show it because he can absorb it because he's so strong. And he should probably be getting on the line way more than he does. It's some of it's reputation. Some of it's just like general relationships, like Scott Foster and Chris Paul. Think about that relationship. You could have a really good relationship where refs really do look out for somebody like James Harden and they put him on the line over and over again. So it isn't fair. It should be like everybody gets treated exactly the same. And a call on this play would be the same as this call on this play, not with who's involved. It should be that way, ideally, but it isn't. And it never has been this way. The whole time I watched the NBA, it's always been this way, that rookies get rookie calls and vets get vet calls. And it's just how the NBA has always been. And it's just a learning curve. And in some ways, that's kind of how they suss out who's going to make the league. Like, can you go through this frustration of unfairness early on as a young player and stick around and be successful enough to overcome it? That some guys aren't, and they don't stick around because of that. So that's what it is. It's just the history of the league. It's always been that way. Larry Bird would get calls over a young rookie on the Raptors, obviously, because he has a longer period of playing in the league and has more respect and championships. And that can have an impact in it too. It's like how much have you won is how much they respect you. G saying Barnes had 0 free throws. Yeah, that's messed up. That is egregious. That is messed up. Barnes did not get the line at all. He was physical. He was down near the basket. He was fighting the low post. How many times did we see him fight and get that spot? And not a single one of those times, those guys did not physically hit him or slap him on the arm or do anything like that. That's bullshit. Y'all know they did, Mark Davis. Y'all know they did, Trey Maddox and Danica Mosier. Y'all did not give us the proper amount of free throw calls compared to Houston last night. And that would have been part of the swing in our favor for sure. Monique saying fans were on the edge with the refs in this game, shaking my head. Yeah, and they should have been. I'm glad they would have been on them. But as I said before, a Houston Rockets game at Scotiabank Arena is not always the most exciting, and like the fans that come to it aren't necessarily like real crazy and like because it's like a Celtics or a Bucks game or a Cleveland Cavaliers game or Nets. This is a game against a team that is supposed to not be very good, and we're expecting a rout, and we're supposed to get it. And when the fans don't see that happening, maybe they get like a little bit of doubt. They start second guess. They get that weird feeling in the building of unsurety, kind of like not feeling very confident. And that hurts our team is when our fans get kind of like unconfident. I hate that. I hate that. Y'all should just trust in Masai, trust in Bobby, trust in Nick Nurse, trust in the team to come back and do some good things. Don't get into this little like, oh no, the sky is falling. Don't start chicken littling in the middle of the game with them on the court, because you can feel it in the building. You can feel that unsure kind of air in the building. That like, oh, things are kind of unsure and feeling kind of, and I know that the crowd was like that at times last night in the middle of the game. And I hate that. I always go there, even if they're down, just be confident and believe in your team that they're going to come back, and don't be unconfident as fans in the building. It will add to the unconfidence the team has. And maybe they don't play as well all of a sudden because the fans are kind of like unsure. And they're like, why are the fans unsure? Oh, maybe we should be unsure. And then everybody's unsure. I don't like that. We should all be confident, is what, because the Raptors are confident deep down, but our energy can hurt them because the crowd is not confident. Let's see. David's saying, I'm pretty sure we are always on the edge with the refs. They're useless. they're not useless. They can actually help us. And we really can start to learn to game the system. Chris Boucher is a perfect example of this. He games the referees to help him get to the free throw line. And we just need to learn that more and more of our guys. Like that and Otto probably know how to manipulate the refs in certain ways to help us. Then other people, like Fred, probably knows some things too. So I wouldn't say they're completely useless. They can actually help us sometimes, but they do hurt us sometimes. Let's see. David's saying, I'm sorry, Raptor fans, but I can't watch another season of this Penn State basketball. Check it out. Oh my gosh. He said that? Seriously? Who is this guy? I've not watched his content at all. I've seen the name a couple times. I don't care. He's probably like a coach. I love Coach Allen out of Hamilton. He's great, but he also gets really pessimistic sometimes. Listen, if you're not ready to ride this ship through the season with the Raptors, the highs and lows, Penn State, you go ahead and check out and go just turn off the TV. You don't want to watch the TV, you go ahead. Now, how are you going to figure out how to make your Raptors content without watching them? Okay, so the logic here is kind of stupid. You can't watch another season of basketball if it's going to be like this. I love this kind of basketball. I love this crazy, chaotic Raptors brand of basketball because it's fun. It's entertaining. We don't know what's going to happen. It'd be so boring if we knew just every single game. Okay, Joel and Harden and Maxey, boom. It's just this every single time. No, we have all kinds of excitement because we don't know what's going to happen. Twists and turns. The other team doesn't know. We don't know necessarily. And boom, always some happy, interesting developments that are exciting to see how we get to the win. And I don't know, Penn State, you're not a real one if you're tapping out because you can't go through another season of basketball like this. David S., thank you. Patrick saying, great conversations, just us Raptor freaks. I love when we win ugly. Winning ugly is different because it's work ethic related, concentration and IQ. It really is. In a couple of games recently, I've seen our guys get on the offensive boards, and it's just classic box them out, battle, and put that ball right the fuck back in. And I love that. That is so blue collar. That is so lunch pail. And seeing like people like Otto, Scottie, Thaddeus, Precious, Chris crash the boards, and the amount of offensive rebounds that we get for this team all the time is that blue collar work ethic. And they're doing it the textbook way these days. They like get in between, and they're just like getting position and grabbing the offensive rebounds and putting them right back. And I love that so much. So much. Ugly, it doesn't have to be pretty, y'all. We just want those W's and to stack them up. G saying, David, I know. I called him out a ton under that post. Disgusting. He did an entire low light reel on Fred and calls himself a fan. Why is he putting the effort into editing and putting this together, making the content just to sewer Fred VanVleet? Who is this guy? Does he cover other teams? Is he just covering the Raptors? Because this is messed up. He must hate his life. Because I wouldn't be putting my energy into things like this that are not building. If he just wants to destroy, why are you building it then? I'm building. You want to build. You don't want to just destroy. It sounds like that dude's an idiot. I'm glad I don't know about him or I've been to his channel. You go get him too, G. Y'all tell him what's up. Give him the riot act for sure. Isaac saying rotations are more dynamic now. Young guns can start, i.e., Koloko and Precious. We got vets to close out games. Young and Porter Jr. Raps are deepest since we the champs around 2019. I think so. I think so too. And I think we have those pieces that you need for a championship. Those veteran leaders off the bench, the different kind of things that we're going to need. We're just going to need people to get more showing up in consistent ways to help us for sure carry the water. And that hopefully that will help us in the end of the season. And who knows, we may make a big deal sometime this season, and that makes a whole different kind of scenario for how our odds for winning championship go up. So we'll have to see how the season gets played out. It's like a book. You got to read each page. You got to read each word, sentence, and paragraph. And you don't know what's the next page. We got to turn the next page and see what's the next part. And each game is like a page in the season. Mike saying Masai got vets for games like this where the other team is young and trying different things and the plan can change quick, but have holes from newest and experience and vets can adjust to more. Yeah, they just calm things down. If we have a good feeling of stability in our starting lineup, but we didn't have with our bench, we definitely have it now. And I thank Thaddeus Young and Otto Porter Jr. for a big part in that. I really do. Wancho on the down low is also another one that we can kind of say this also. And we shouldn't discount him also, his veteran presence, because there is some vet stuff he can do also that goes along with them as well. So he's like a third one of these guys to a degree. G saying you can really see the difference in youth and vets when under pressure. Love that we have more of a mix now. Yes. When the pressure is really tight, I don't think Otto's going to shrink. He's going to be just as good. And that's important. That is really important, that mix. Monique saying when everything gets tough, just call on Fred. Steady Freddie will come and save the day. He'll hit some shots, big threes. They dare him. They lay off of him. He was actually outplaying Jalen Green pretty good last night. Let's look at that matchup. Jalen Green versus Fred VanVleet. We talk about how Maxey absolutely owns him. Well, let's look at Green versus VanVleet. Green played 40 minutes. He had 21 points. He was a -8, 8 of 14 from the field. So he didn't shoot horrible. It wasn't like what I described yesterday where he shot like 8 of 26. He was 8 of 14, 2 of 6 from three-point range, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 turnovers. Meanwhile, on the other side, Fred played 5 less minutes and he scored 11 more points. So let's look at this whole narrative that Fred VanVleet can't guard faster, more athletic, better young guards. Because last night it looked like he was stealing the ball from Jalen Green. He was going around him. He was schooling him like a vet would school a youngster. So I love that. I love that. That's a good argument against people that hate Fred. Is that, look, okay, he has problems with Maxey in particular, but he is really good against Jalen Green last night. So I don't think we can just pigeonhole him as saying it's like he has problem with young, quicker guards. He can outvet some of them and really make them look bad because he was making Jalen Green look bad in certain instances last night, like a young player, and he was the vet. All right, let's keep going. Raptors fans have to understand there are fake fans with ulterior motives to cause disruption. Discord amongst fan bases break up the support. Our team is a success, so target for propaganda now. This is so true. And they do this to other fan nations too. And we have people that do this for us in Celtics fan nation, in Philly fan nation, in Miami fan nation. There's every fan nation's got this going every which way, every different ways. We have trolls too. We have imposters too that go into other fan nations and do this kind of stuff. They may go in there and, if you're really good at it, you can really cause some serious trouble in fan bases. if you really pick the right topic to be contentious about, you can really mess and rile up feelings and fan bases like this Fred Van Vliet thing that we're dealing with here. So understand this, and Cool Cat's aware of it. I'm aware of it. Y'all need, this is part of what we're trying to do on this channel, is educate Raptors fans about part of the reason why maybe some of these people are so negative and talking shit about Fred Van Vliet and other players. Vanessa James, good to see you here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join us anytime. I know you've been here before. Jalen Green gives me Westbrook vibes. Yeah, because he's kind of like the same size player in the same position. And there are a lot of, that is true, because like Russell really did lean heavy on his athleticism and his attacking the rim as a younger player. He's having to adjust now as he gets older, and that's part of the reason the Lakers are struggling so much. But Jalen Green, yeah, you know what? I totally see that. I hadn't really thought about the comparison between Jalen Green and Russell Westbrook. Is definitely a very apt observation. Troy Henry's here. Good to see another new name. Been watching your live since last week, but today I decided to subscribe because I like the Raptors vibes here. Awesome, Troy. Well, I'm glad you're here and that you've subscribed up. And anytime you want to come in and espouse any opinion or observation or anything you've been noticing about the Raptors and things that have been happening in games or stuff like that, feel free to come in here and contribute. We appreciate you being here. And I go through every single comment, and it's all important to talk about it all. And I appreciate your sub. And yeah, we're going to keep going tomorrow. Preview for Oklahoma City. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And I thank you for the nice compliment. I really appreciate it. Monique is saying, win ugly is right, Patrick, but palms were sweating through. Let's go try and build on these wins. Let's go streaking on a day where I went to the game. Always good to see the stream so upbeat. Yes, Monique. Thank you. And you are a big part of it. And thanks for going to the game, bringing the good vibes, and just having that good presence. Maybe he was unsure in the building, but Monique was not doubting our team at all the whole time. She was probably sitting there saying, you know what, y'all need to just remember who these people are that we are cheering for. This is the Raptors, and you never count them out, no matter what the score is or the situation. These dudes are trying their damnedest till the last buzzer sounds. They will be trying to get that win right up until the very end. And yeah, I'm so happy you went to the game, and I would love to see a streak start now. That'd be great. It would be a tough test this weekend because Indiana's playing really well too, and this is a back-to-back. We'll play Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City on Friday night, and then we go to Indiana for Saturday and play in Indiana the very next night. And Indiana is no slouch. They are playing very well right now. Halliburton is absolutely killing it with his shots. And they had a really good win last night, didn't they? They won their game last night, I believe. Who did they play last night? Where are they? No, they lost to Denver by 3. Okay, they didn't win. But they were playing really well against him. And I know they were talking shit. Like, I think Halliburton was talking shit to Jokic in the middle of the game. It was crazy. It was crazy. He was talking shit to Jokic. Let's see. Isaac saying, welcome, Troy and Otto, the real ones. Yes, I like that. Very welcoming. David saying, Vanessa, I'm assuming he reminds you of the best version of Westbrook, or does he remind you of Westbrook? He probably reminds her of the original Westbrook, the good Westbrook. Yeah. Nameless is saying, I tell you right now, I can tell Scottie getting real tired of the lack of respect and calls from the refs. Yes. His looks of frustration, his pleading, he has to understand that this is just going to be part of the journey. And that, he's going to get better and better calls. It's inevitable. He's going to get the superstar calls. It's just he's got to go through the growing pains. And he actually got some good calls as a rookie last year. He wasn't totally getting rookie calls. They really were treating him like he was the number 4 pick in the draft. And that's part of it too, is like Koloko's a second round pick. He's not going to get the same kind of calls as Paolo or Jabari even. Jabari, he was a knucklehead last night. Jabari Smith's a talented dude, and he's cool and interesting, but he really fucked up their team a couple of ways last night. Him talking trash to Koloko in that moment was really stupid, really wasn't warranted. Like, he didn't do anything that impressive in the game, and he got a technical, and they went and shot it. And I love Jack coming down on him. But also, technically, he wasn't very good. There was a lot of really dumb mistakes that Jabari Smith made last night. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double, but he really didn't have very much stats otherwise. 4-11 from the field. The thing that impressed me about Jabari Smith was that he can shoot the three. I didn't realize that he had a three-point shot, and he was making a couple of those. That was annoying. Yeah, but Scottie's going to get better and calls, and he is frustrated. And he talked about it on his Twitch that the refs are just tough to deal with, but he understands. He just wants to stay in their good favor, so he won't say anything bad about them. And it's just a part of the game. But you can tell in the moment because of what we said, he's so expressive that he is really mad, and maybe he's like, and he may be doing stuff like this or talking while they're coming down the court, and he's still kind of saying, "Y'all shouldn't have called me, given me a foul." And him not having any free throws last night is really like fucked up because he definitely was operating in the paint, and he had guys hanging all over him when he was trying to do those low post moves. He should have had some free throws last night. So something was weird with that. Let's see. I'm a fun guy. I was real happy to see Pascal since the injury. Yeah, it was good to see him on the bench. He wasn't on the bench for the last couple games, or he didn't go to Chicago, I guess. He didn't probably travel, and that was part of the reason why. Let's see. Mike saying nameless going Project Truth with the profile pic. Nice. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, there's a little animated nameless there. I like that. I'm a fun guy saying, I think you're definitely come across this channel. I've had years of battles with this guy, Pensair. He used to be on Basketball Zone channel back then. Yeah, no, I honestly, I don't seek out a lot of content. I don't try and go and find every single new person that's out there or keep on top of it. It really is just if I hear about them or I come across them somehow. I've heard the name, but I've never actually gone and watched this stuff. But yeah, he's an idiot. Sounds like it's worth not seeing his stuff. Mason saying, "Hey Lex, just realized you're streaming great when Freddie of Young Barnes did well. OG is locked in on defense. Great to see." Yeah, thanks, Mason. I'm glad you're here. Coming in, Raptor Freak Mason Culligan. Yeah. A great win. Freddie of Young Barnes did well. OG is locked in on defense. Great to see. Yeah, just a good win. We need to keep stacking them. Mike saying Van Hoot does stuff on Basketball Zone now, and To the point. His opinions have a lot more context with understanding the growth part of things, like one step back to launch two steps. Didn't Van Hoot come in here and comment? I think he was actually in our chat one day. I think I've seen that name. I've been on To the Point. I've been a guest on their show a few times. They don't like me anymore because I cussed out Skip in the last appearance I had on that show. I love the King. Brian's great. And him and I stay in contact, and we kind of talk here and there every once in a while. But Skip and I do not get along. Skip is a Boston fan. He's not actually a Raptors fan. You can tell he's a fucking Boston fan. Just everything he says, all his opinions, they always favor the Celtics, and he always puts down the Raptors. And I don't know what's the point of having Skip on To the Point. He should be on Boston To the Point or something like that. But yeah, I basically cussed him out in the middle of his show and caught him in a lie, and they've never asked me back. It was so awesome. You can find that old episode with me on To the Point. It's hilarious if they still have it up. But yeah, I caught him he said some bullshit, and I turned around and I said, "Look, you just contradicted yourself, and you sound stupid when you said it." And yeah, they never asked me back. To the Point. Yeah. But Van Hoot, I think I've seen that name in chat spaces recently, and I think he's actually even been in here with us. So hey, Van Hoot, if you got good stuff, respect. Monique saying your post-game reaction videos are awesome. What do you think so far? I enjoy them as much. And John Wiggins said the same thing about the team yesterday. Believe, yay, why are fans so frustrating sometimes? I don't know. They're just miserable. Like, I don't know why. Look at life. It's good life. Be happy. I don't know if I like the reactions. I know that Raymond Jacob made me that thing, but I actually lost some subscriptions last night after I did the reaction. So I'm kind of like, maybe I shouldn't do it. My bread and butter's here. I don't know. I'm not as sharp at that point. And I don't exactly like how those clips have come off. I may need to spice them up or figure out something different for them. Maybe have a format to them instead of just me going off the top of my head. It may really be that I need to come in with some points about the game, maybe something similar to like what you do with your write-up, Monique, after the game, except just me audio saying it on a reaction afterwards. I don't know. I'm not totally into more work for this channel by doing this if it's not really going to help or it's not necessary. Because honestly, a lot of what I just said on the reaction last night, I would just say now. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. We had a good reaction the other night, and last night I didn't feel like it was a good video to put out. I don't know. We'll see. It may be rescinded at any point. We may not be doing them anymore. David saying Jabari Smith Jr. is a punk. He is a punk, and he's kind of like he's gotten into it with Jalen Green already on the team. Like he's kind of been arrogant, and they don't get totally along. I can tell that their personalities are a little weird. Otto was lit. Great to see him hit his threes. Yes, I love seeing Otto play like that. David saying, "What's the name of the channel? 2 Point? Any idea what the name of the episode was or whatever? Wow, is there like a 5 minute timeout period after you make a comment or something? This is bonkers." Yeah, I have a 5 minute thing on to lessen the length of the chat and the comments. You guys just have like one comment, a lot in it instead of like a lot of little comments, like quick burst, because I was trying to shorten the stream times by not having so many comments. So I figured if you can't comment for 5 minutes, that lessens the comments. But that's exactly why, David. I've tried different time intervals. Like 5 minutes is the most you can put it at. You can put it at less, like just a minute also. So I've been trying at different times. It's really to try and get my live streams down in time. I don't know what episode it was To the Point. I would look around last summer, not this past summer, but the summer before last season. You'll find me on some of their content then. And I know I've done their show like twice, at least twice, maybe 3 times. I don't remember. I think I did it either 2 or 3 times. But yeah, the episode with me and Skip, if they still have it up, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. It is, yeah. Let's see. Mike saying I'm helping with Skip with my comments, but yeah, Kenyon versus Van Hoot be battling with Skip. Brian is awesome. The king. Brian's okay. He's a little arrogant. He's kind of got a big head, but I don't mind him. You know, him and I, we have a weird relationship. He was kind of talking trash and kind of gaslighting me a little bit with my station in the beginning, and kind of like trying to say he was helping me, but then he was trying to like tell me, "Oh, you're not doing this right," and coming down on me and doing this, and I'm like, "Come on, Brian, come on. I appreciate your interest and stuff like that, but we really don't interact as far as creatively at this point." But yeah, Skip, I can't stand that dude. That guy's an idiot. I really can't stand him, Mike. He's one of those negative fans that says he's a fan of the Raptors, but I don't believe him. I really don't. Nameless is saying a lot of subscriptions based on production. It probably doesn't help that your shorts look like you're telling a campfire ghost story. Yeah, yeah, and like also sometimes maybe people just like getting the one thing from me, and if I inundate them with too many things, some people are like, "Oh, this is too much," and then I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the right balance. Who knows? I could be completely wrong. Salute. All right, just real quick, going over the box score in general ways. Jabari Smith's an idiot. Sengun was actually really good for them. He was kind of annoying. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, 5 of 8 from the field. Perfect from the field, 7 of 7. He played really well. But that battle with him and Koloko was interesting. There were times when Koloko did really well against him, but Sengun had a lot of success. Eric Gordon was horrible. He played really bad. Kevin Porter Jr. was interesting as a starter. He had a double-double, 12 points, 11 assists, 4 of 11 for shooting. Jalen Green, not anything special, 21 points. If you can contain him down to 21 points, that's probably pretty good considering he's usually getting around 30. Off the bench, Garuba was interesting. There was that double foul at one point with him and I think OG or somebody. It was Precious. I forget who was the double foul with. Maybe it was Chris. Kenyon Martin Jr. was very annoying off the bench last night. He was their best plus minus at plus 18, 13 points, 5 of 6, 6 rebounds. He was like, all right, Kenyon Martin Jr. was at Rico Hines with the Raptors this summer. And there were all kinds of crazy highlights of him getting up there and dunking and talking all kinds of trash to the Raptors then. So he really has some fire to play against our Raptors, and he did get a lot of time against us this summer. So he showed it in this game. Tari Eason was interesting. Like both their rookies were like showed really flashes of brilliance. 14 points for Eason, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. That's insane. He had 5 steals, but he was really ugly near the basket, missing some really easy shots, and also just looking like inept at times. Also, really happy that Matthews came off the bench and did not make any of his 3 3-pointers that he took, and he was a 0 because he could have been a real problem for us if he had just been hitting his 3. and he got some open looks. It was really easy. If he had made any of those, he could have gotten going, and that may have hurt us for winning the game last night. Koloko, tough night. 5 points, 1 block, 5 fouls, 1 rebound, 1 for 4 from the field, but he did get 3 for 3 at the free throw line. I like to see him perfect at the line. Another learning game. That's what it is. OG, fantastic. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 10 of 20 shooting, 3 steals, plus 18. Scottie Barnes, tough game, but also good. Very good on the down low. 7 offensive rebounds. You can't blink at that. That's fantastic. 5 assists, 13 points. 2 blocks. Scottie had a good game on the down low. Fred VanVleet, absolutely fantastic. 12 of 26, 7 3-pointers, 4 assists, 4 steals, 32 points. Gary Trent Jr., we haven't even mentioned him in this stream yet. He actually was very quietly solid once again. 4 for 8. Anytime he shoots 50% or right around 50%, I'm really happy. And I'm okay with him not scoring a lot once again. Him only getting 11 points is not a big deal. He got 4 assists, 1 steal. He was a +2. But the thing that Gary did that's so awesome is that Gary starts our game off with scoring. He's been the first guy to get the first couple of baskets the last few games. And that's good because he's kind of busting the seal to open up the offense and help us get going right away. And that he's been the dude that makes the first couple baskets the last couple games. And I like that. Even if he only gets 11 points, he's efficient. He didn't take a whole lot of shots, and he's playing within himself and within the system. Good game by Gary. Nothing too flashy, but just good and solid. Thad Young, absolutely amazing for not scoring any points, a +21 with 8 rebounds and 2 assists. Nick Nurse says he had a good game. I say he had a good game. Maybe some fans will say he didn't, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Chris Boucher is still struggling right now, which is only 2 points. He didn't play a whole lot. 13 minutes, 4 rebounds. Yeah, Precious, tough game. I hated seeing him get hurt. Only 4 points, 2 of 8 shooting. He had 6 rebounds. I just hope he gets better quickly. Delano Banton's okay, 12 minutes, 2 of 7 from the field, 3 rebounds, 8 points. And then Otto Porter Jr., my third star for the game. We had OG, Fred, and Otto as my third star. 5 of 8 from the field, 2 3-pointers, 6 rebounds, including 3 offensive rebounds, which were putbacks. He actually got on the boards and put back some shots. And that's great to see from Otto Porter, who's supposed to be a 3-point shooter, but he's so much more. So much more. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Monique saying, again, awesome stream, Lex. Let's go Raptors. Thank you, Monique. Mason saying Freddie's threes and Otto's threes in the fourth with Barnes passing was the way we got the W plus OG clamping everyone. Yeah, that's really what kind of finished the game and helped us to the win was Freddie very much shooting threes, Otto getting a burst of a couple threes in a row, and then OG getting overpowering steals near the end of the game also. Mike saying, great stream today. Amazing flow. A lot of great basketball facts and conversations. Project Truth going strong. Truth and growth. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Logical Raptors fanatic. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Yes, you're part of the flow. I appreciate you and what you're doing, man. I really do. Nameless is saying, I think the mic and lighting upgrade would be a tremendous boost for your subscriptions. The real ones don't mind, but it keeps the stream occult and exclusive. Well, the microphone is going to be coming. That is actually going to be the next big upgrade that I'm going to get a mic and it'll be better for audio. And maybe I will get a light at some point, like one of these weird round yellow, white lights that everybody uses or something. Yeah, there's going to be upgrades. There's been upgrades since the beginning. If you saw one of my first streams, I had a horrible internet connection and it was choppy and it was like, and it was so grainy. It was so grainy. So there's been upgrades as we go. And these are 2 of them that I will definitely be getting to as it goes. We'll see. You may see a microphone in front of me before Christmas. So we'll have to see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, I like Gary Trent Jr. expanding his game with some playmaking, drives to the rim, rebounds. Each game he has assists and rebounds now. Yeah, he was really just a one-trick pony scorer. And at first we're like, oh, he's just a 3-point shooter. Oh, well, no, he's a scorer. He can slash. He can go to the basket. He can shoot mid-range. He can score at every level. And now, okay, yeah, we know what he does on defense. Well, what about the assists? What about the passing, Gary? Can you do this? Because we don't see you pass the ball too much. Well, he's passing it a little bit more recently, and I like this trend. I'm with Cool Cat on this. I like to see him not be the black hole that I described him as last week. as being somebody you can pass the ball to him, he's going to shoot it. We just know he's going to shoot it. He won't pass it back to anybody else. 3 stars for Monique, our Fred, OG, and Otto also. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will be back tomorrow with a preview for the Toronto Raptors at the Oklahoma City Thunder with all the information that you expect from me. And what a great win against Houston last night. A W is a W is a W is a W. And we just want the Raptors to continue to accumulate that stack of W's on that side of the column and stay away from those L's. We do not want those L's. Let's see. Panzeri basketball is a low-key, a goof. And Mason saying, this is a place I come to talk Raptors. Thanks, Lex. Great stream. Awesome, Mason. I hope you have a great Thursday. Everybody, get out there and have a great day. And just love everybody. And, tell your loved ones you love them, every chance you can get. And once again, our condolences to Raptor Freak. Randolph Phillips, we are so unhappy to hear about the passing of your mother. And I hope everybody has a great day. And let's go, Edmund, Race Mode Daily. And let's go, Mike, Logical Raptors Fanatic, Monique, Superfan Lawrence, Sue, Vanessa, Lolita, Hot Take J, Mason Culligan, everybody. Shane Waters, West Coast Crew. Everybody, Click, I'm a Fun Guy, G, all the originals, everybody. Let's go Raptors. Yeah, baby, we love this team. You can't stop us from loving this team.